live across the World Wide Web. I am Dave Knobler getting you ready for this ball game tonight. A matchup between a team from the greater Houston area and from the Super Syntax, that would be Waco High, and you can tell
the hard work is for the chance to say you're the best. The Lamarck Cougars have that chance, a perennial contender. The Cougars' quickness and strength is well known throughout the state. Tonight they face a Waco Lions team that will try to do what district mate Copperas Cove could not, win the state championship ball game. It's Waco and Lamarck in the 4A Division II championship, and it is next. From the Alamo City, welcome to the 4A Division II State Championship ball game between the Lamarck Cougars and the Waco Lions. Hi everyone, Doug Anderson along with LaDarren McClain, and we welcome you to this very special internet broadcast on AT&TBlueRoom.com as the Waco Lions look for their 6th state championship in school history. Of course, the last came in 1948, and the Lamarck Cougars are looking for their 5th state title. Theirs coming in the 90s and most recently in 2003. And when you look at the Waco Lions, LaDarren 13-2 overall, very talented ball club led by their running attack, and leading that running attack is Jared Salubi.
Jared Salubi, a solid running back, a complete running back with 1,300 yards on the season with 17 touchdowns. I look for him tonight to have a big impact in the football game as well.
And defensively, they're only giving up just over 12 points a game, and one of the reasons is Antonio Johnson. He has 16 and a half sacks coming into the ball game tonight, one of the fierce leaders on that Waco defense. Well, when you look at the Lamarck Cougars, they come in with a lot of tradition. Brian Irwin is their coach, and he does an outstanding job, and they are led at quarterback by a very talented young man named Jarius Curligan.
Jarius Curligan, a solid performer at the quarterback, has 20 touchdowns in the air and 7 on the ground. He needs to keep mistakes down tonight in order for his team to score points, and they're going to have to tonight.
And that defense of Lamarck only giving up just over 11 points a game. And one of the main factors over on that side is Leonard Dines, 137 total tackles and 3 sacks. These two teams, as we've mentioned, they're used to success, and one of the reasons is their coaches, who do a great job. And for more on that, we send it down to the floor of the Alamo Dome and check in with our sideline reporter, Dave Knobler.
Thanks a lot, Doug. The coaches also have Super Syntax roots in common. Now, of course, Johnny Tusa, Waco High's head coach, has been coaching there. He's the only coach Waco High has ever known. Nearly 3 decades as a head coach. He was at Jefferson Board when the schools consolidated. He became the coach at Waco High. He also won a couple state championships as a player at Riker High School back in the 60s. Now, on the other side of the coin, Brian Irwin came from Hillsboro, just in the northern portion of the Super Syntax, and in his 5th year as Lamarck head coach, 12th year overall. Of course, he led Lamarck to the 2003 4A Division II state championship, and his guys would like to get another one here tonight.
Thanks a lot, Dave, and wherever you happen to be in the world tonight, we are glad that you're joining us here at AT&TBlueRoom.com for the 4A Division II state championship game between Lamarck and Waco. All right. Doug Anderson and LaDarren McClain in the Alamo Dome, and let's join the national anthem in progress here at the Alamo Dome as Waco and Lamarck get ready to kick it off. Sides are certainly fired up, as you can tell. And We've got the noisemakers on both sidelines tonight. Waco with theirs in white, Lamarck theirs in yellow, and we are ready for some football excitement. The 4A D2 state championship between the Lamarck Cougars coming out of the greater Houston area and the Waco Lions out of the Super Syntex region. When you look at this matchup on paper, Darren, it seems pretty clear that the two defenses come into this game dominating for the season, only giving up 11, 12 points a game for both teams. It's the offenses that really have the responsibility tonight to put points on the board, because we know that the two defenses are going to come to play.
That's exactly right. Both of these defenses have talented players on the defensive side, obviously, and a great secondary to go with it. So it's really going to be important tonight for both of these offenses, like you said, to get off to a good start.
Captain's out at midfield for the coin toss. Lamarck is in the dark blue with the yellow numbers. Waco in the red pants, the white jerseys, and the red helmets. Lamarck's record 14-1 as they enter the game. Waco High 13-2. Get a look at our officials tonight. The referee is Joel Pacheco, the umpire David Bawley, the head linesman Donnie Britt, line judge John Miller, and the back judge Joe Greco. The toss has been completed. Lamarck wins the toss, and they elect to receive the ball first here at the Alamo Dome. Welcome to the Alamo City, San Antonio, the site of the 4A Division II championship game tonight and the 5A Division I and Division II championship games tomorrow. Should be a busy, busy weekend full of excitement here at the Alamo Dome.
Right, you might as well just stay tonight and find a place to go to eat tonight and stay over and watch these football games, because it's some of the best football played that's going to be played all year.
Waco's season included a run through District 16 4A, where they had to tangle with the likes of Copperas Cove and Brownwood, two other teams that made the playoffs out of their district, and all three went at least 3 rounds. In fact, all three went 4 rounds before Brownwood lost to Waco. Copperas Cove played for the 4A D1 title last week, losing to Alamo Heights, a team from right here in the San Antonio area. Now Waco tries to carry the torch for 16 4A and bring home a state championship.
Right, Waco's been battle-tested, and they're looking for to go against history tonight as they get going against Lamar, who's fighting history themselves too. So we're definitely set up for an exciting matchup tonight with both of these teams going for the state championship.
Alvin Taylor is the deep man for the Lamarck Cougars. Ernesto Guevara will kick it away for the Waco Lions. Guevara, one of 2 kickers, used quite a bit for Johnny Tusa and his Lions throughout the year. And watch out for the dangerous return men back for Lamarck. Alvin Taylor, Marcus Frank, and Marlon Pouncey. Guevara waits for the signal from our official. And we are ready to get underway. Guevara's kick, a high, shallow kick that will be taken at the 20-yard line by Philip Purvis, and Purvis will be taken down across the 25 at the 27. Victor Johnson making the tackle on the special teams along with Philip Jimenez. And now we get a chance to take a look at the Lamarck starting lineup offensively as Jarius Curligan leads them out onto the field. Curligan for the year, 43 of 75 passing for 717 yards. He played a backup role to Dirkland Haynes for the majority of the first part of the year, but Haynes got into some off-the-field issues and was not able to play throughout the season, so Jarius Curligan has come in and done a very nice job. And you look at his offensive line led by the right tackle, Andre McGaskey, who is a University of Texas commitment. Incomplete pass out of the backfield on the first effort. It was intended for Marlon Pouncey. And Waco's defense coming to play with the big rush that time. Victor Johnson and Gary House leading the way. Get a look at Curligan's numbers: 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions this year. Coach Brian Irwin really likes Curligan, though, a young man with a lot of poise and potential, and has done a great job in the absence of Dirkland Haynes, and Jarius Curligan will be back next year, only a junior. Second down and 10. And a whistle flies, and the flags come in. Looks like some movement there on the line.
Yeah, it definitely did. A little bit early in the game, you're going to get these jitters, especially being in a state championship game. And it's really going to come down to which team can settle down and calm their nerves and just treat this like a normal regular season game.
There's Joel Pacheco's call. A false start on Lamarck, and that will mark them back. It will be second down and 15.
Second down and 15 from the Lamarck 23.
Just underway at the Alamo Dome in the 4A D2 championship game. Glad you're with us on AT&TBlueRoom.com. Here's a handoff up the middle, Pouncey, and Pouncey finds some room to run across the 30 up to the 34-yard line. Terrence Adkism brings him down, but big gain for Marlon Pouncey, who comes into the ball game with 926 yards on the year, so coming close to a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, he's an explosive little back right there. He has 926 yards on the season. Right there, running back behind big Corey Biggers out there.
Getting a look at the Waco defense, Antonio Johnson strong at defensive end. Also, watch for Victor Johnson at the safeties position. Third down and 4 for the Cougars. Shotgun formation now for Curligan, and he'll pass to his tight end. Incomplete, now intercepted. And this is Victor Johnson, and he's going back the other way. Touchdown, Waco Lions.
Wow, what a way to start out the game at this point, Doug. Curligan had his guy open, but he just threw it too soft to him, and his receiver couldn't handle the ball. Looks like Joseph Florence, their go-to receiver, and at that time, he just couldn't bring it down. And as you can see, the defensive back right there just took it to the house.
35 yards on the return for Victor Johnson, and we told you at the beginning of this ball game, defense was going to play a factor because these two teams have great defenses, and we see the first score of the game go to the defensive side for Waco. The extra point on the way, and Cameron Curry knocks it through. So with 11:02 remaining in the first quarter, Waco on top 7-0, and let's get a look at that replay.
Yeah, Curligan had time to make his throw. Something when you do when you're nervous and excitement in the game, the ball tends to settle on you a little bit, and Joseph Florence, couldn't bring it down, and Victor Johnson, being Johnny on the spot, picks it off and takes it to the house. Pretty much keeping the theme going of what they did last week against Church Clemens, scoring defensive touchdowns.
Joe Florence, of course, not to be confused with Joey Florence, the head coach at Denton Ryan. Great job by Victor Johnson to pick the ball up out of the air, but Tony Jones also did a good job to knock the ball up and kind of disrupt Florence's attempt to catch that ball.
Yeah, Joseph Florence was actually in a good crowd. If the quarterback Curligan could just put him on him and throw it to him in the middle of his chest, they might have had a nice completion, but just too much traffic around there, especially when the ball's getting tipped in the air like that.
Ernesto Guevara will kick the ball away. And again, a chance to work offensively for Lamarck. Joey Florence takes the kickoff at the 25-yard line, and Florence works his way up to the 35 and goes out of bounds. It's a 10-yard return for Joey Florence, and the Lamarck Cougars will start with a little bit better field position, but needing to tone it down just a bit, perhaps, and maybe certainly what you don't want to do if you're Lamarck is lose your composure over that early setback. You want to come out and play your game and not worry about that mistake. You got to put it behind you.
Absolutely, and what they need to come out here is establish their running back, Marion Pouncey right here, try to get him going as well. And also they probably need to get Jarius Curligan settled down a little bit. You have to have a bad memory, especially playing quarterback.
And Curligan will take the ball and run to the 40-yard line. He goes. Picks up about 5 as he gets it to the 41. Bring up second down and 5. Edwin Evans making the stop for the Lions. Jarius Curligan, the younger brother of Larry Curligan, a former Lamarck quarterback, a terrific one at that, a young man who led the Cougars to a state championship back in 2003, a triple overtime win over Denton Ryan right here at the Alamo Dome. High formation in the backfield. Pouncey will take the pitch, and Marlon Pouncey looks forward for about 3 yards. Let's send it down to the sideline now. Check in with Dave Nomley.
Well, Doug, you mentioned the word composure. You also mentioned Larry Curligan. Obviously, a lot of the players who are freshmen on this year's that are seniors now were on that team, and one of Lamarck's supposed strengths was the ability to be able to handle the early going and not making any crucial mistakes. Obviously, they're trying to get it right on the second possession.
3rd down and 2. Cougars will go up the middle fullback dive, and it looks like they have enough for the first down. That was T.J. Boyd with the run. Hutchinson making the stop. T.J. Boyd getting just enough to move the chains, and the Cougar drive continues.
And that's got to feel good if you're the Lamarck side over here. You got to feel good that you get a first down, you get some kind of momentum established. Looks like they're having success controlling the defensive front of Waco thus far.
Curligan to throw, and this time deflected. That's the same play that saw Victor Johnson pick it off and run it back for a touchdown. This time gets batted down.
Yeah, this one you might have to blame on the offensive line and maybe the coordination of the offensive play. You've got to be able to, on the quick passes, to chop block the defensive line and get their hands down so you won't have plays like that.
2nd down and 10 coming up for the Cougars. As you get a look at that Waco defense, the defense that only gives up about 59 yards a game rushing. So whatever yardage Lamarck gets on the ground tonight will be well earned. There's going to be a whistle on this one, and could be another false start penalty coming against the Lamarck offensive line.
The Waco defensive line is so quick off the ball, you might see this a little bit more out through the game.
Joel Pacheco indicating the false start penalty. Will still be 2nd down, but now 2nd and 15 for the Cougs. Lamarck, a team with great history. Back in the 90s, they were one of the teams that you had to consider when you started talking about the team of the 90s. They and Stephenville battled back and forth for state championships in Class 4A throughout the decade. Jarius Curligan out of the shotgun, now running from the pocket, throws it deep, has Florence, but overthrows his man, and the Lamarck coaches are screaming for an interference penalty, but none coming. Tony Jones had the coverage on Florence on the play.
And rightfully so. There was just too much contact beyond the line of scrimmage. You have that 5-yard zone where the defensive man can play almost a chicken fight with you, and there was just way too much contact for a penalty not to be thrown at that time.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 15. And the Cougars seeing things squarely on the Waco side here early on. Victor Johnson with a 35-yard interception return for a touchdown. The only points of the game has Waco up 7-0. Curligan under pressure. Ball pops up in the air. It's loose, and there's a fight for it on the field. It looked like Lamarck came back up with it. Gary House knocked it up in the air after he hit Curligan, and let's see if indeed it was the Cougars who jump on the ball. They do, and that will bring up a very long 4th down, a 4th and 22, and Lamarck will have to punt the ball away.
That's not Lamarck's game. They don't need to get in 3rd and long situations, or what we call up here passing situation, because pretty much that's just an invite for the Waco defense to tee back and go after the quarterback, and as you can see that time it was pretty much a jailbreak.
Former starting quarterback Dirkland Haynes will punt the ball away. As we mentioned, Haynes lost his starting job about midway through the season. Now punts it. High wobbling kick taken at the 40-yard line. Fair caught by Ronald Horn. A 24-yard punt for Dirkland Haynes, and Waco, we will see their offense for the first time tonight with 8 minutes left to go in the first quarter.
Exactly right. You know, Waco, a run-heavy offense, pretty much 75% on the ground, 25 in the air. So we're going to see a lot of the toss sweeps and the dive plays in between the tackles, and I'm pretty sure that the Lamarck is well aware and ready for that.
Waco's offense on the field, led by their quarterback Brian Smith, the 6'4", 185-pound senior. He will hand it off on the end around, but the Lamarck defense is there to stuff it for a loss. The handoff on the play going to Charles Silman, but Silman was tackled by James Thomas in the backfield. Let's send it down to the sideline, check in with Dave Knobler.
Well, Doug, gone but not forgotten. That would be Amy Hannes. Now, he was a member of Waco's freshman team. A couple years ago, he was killed in a car crash back in February of '05. The cheerleaders were telling me he was the heart and soul of that freshman team. He would have been a junior this year, and the team came out with his poster when they took the field for the pregame.
Jared Salubi on the end around this time, fakes the reverse and goes up the field about 14 yards, picks up close to a first down. Keith Tolbert with the tackle on the play, but Salubi right at midfield. That should be enough to move the chains, and it is.
I like what Johnny Tusa and his offensive staff have done thus far with the game. They're stretching the Lamarck defense from sideline to sideline, making them defend the whole field with the sweeps, and that time to fake reverse.
First down for the Lions, right up the middle of the gut. Go the Lions this time. Giving it the ball to Brian Dugas. Dugas tackled by Mike Settler on the play, picks up 3 yards. Well, actually, after the spot, it's going to look more like 5, but there is a penalty flag on the play. There's a bench warning to Waco is what that is, and they're telling their guys to get back. They were standing a little too close to the action.
Oh, my gosh. How do you call that this early in the game? That was just a warning, okay.
After the warning, second down and 5. As Brian Dugas picked up the 5 yards on the play. Dugas with 574 yards on the ground coming into the ball game. High formation in the backfield for the Lions. This time they will hand off to Salubi. And Salubi picking up a couple. Perrin Sellers with the tackle.
Yeah, this Lamarck defense is very good against the run as well. Giving up 125 yards a game. You say, well, that's a lot, but at the same time, they've only given up 92 yards in the air for a total of 218. So something is going to have to give with both of these teams after their scripts being exploded today.
Screen pass, 40-yard line, as Ronald Horn takes the pitch from Smith and gets tackled by Philip Purvis.
Just a simple screen play to the receiver out here on the flank side out here. What they're doing is attacking the perimeter of the Lamarck's defense, and right now they're having some success here picking up another first down.
That is good enough for a first down, and Waco with one man in the backfield, sitting 2 receivers to the left, and will hand off to Salubi, and Jared Salubi push his way forward for about 4. Leonard Dines with the stop on the play. Waco so far very much in control of this ball game, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And what they're doing right now, they look real focused, and you can tell that during the warm-ups. When I first looked at them, looked like they were a little bit nervous, but that was just guys just focusing on their assignments. And as you can see, it's really paying off here early in the football game.
High formation in the backfield. A pitch to Salubi. Salubi's got good blocking out in front of him. Tries to find the corner at the 30-yard line, but he goes out of bounds a few clicks before that. Up at the 33, Philip Purvis knocks him out of bounds. That will be good for 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, they do the toss sweep to the weak side of the formation, and that's a good gain right there on second down, leaving them a third and definitely manageable. They're in a situation now, they're having success running the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if you see the play action pass maybe right here.
3rd and 4 after the Salubi run. Offset eye in the backfield as Brian Smith goes under center. They'll hand it off to the fullback, Dugas, and Dugas is not going anywhere. He may have picked up a yard on the play, but Perrin Sellers comes in to stuff him for the Lamarck D.
Yeah, that's a good defensive stop right there. We've been calling Sellers quite a bit, and Philip Purvis on the tackles there. And as you can see, that was definitely a play that was definitely not going up the middle that time.
Waco with a pretty big offensive line, led by Corey Hayes, the 6'2", 295-pound right guard, and Nicholas Johnson, the 260-pound right tackle.
And that's where they're going to do most of their running on the meaty side of their offensive line.
4th down and 3, and the Lions are going for it. Smith flushed out of the pocket, throwing to the sideline, incomplete. The pass was intended for Ronald Horn, but a nice job over there in coverage by James Thomas, and also Taylor. Mike Settler was in there as well, but Alvin Taylor also got a piece of that action.
Yeah, that was great coverage right there on the Lamarck defense that time right there, not giving the receiver any chance to catch that ball at that point there. And you also have to say that's a good decision by Brian Smith. Just throwing it where his receiver possibly could catch the ball. And as you can see, he gets flushed out of the pocket and makes a pretty heady decision and almost actually completes that pass.
Good effort by Ronald Horn, the leading receiver for the Lions, who came into the ballgame with 29 catches for 344 yards. High snap, Curligan has to pick it up, but he is going to be swarmed under way back at the Lamarck 23-yard line by LaDerrick Williams. And a loss of 14 yards on the play.
Yeah, Doug, you almost have to go back to what I said earlier in the game. You know, Waco came out, they looked very focused. They weren't really saying too much of anything. And at the same time, got a penalty here as Lamarck came out. They were almost too loose, so to speak. And it's kind of spilling over here in their first part of this game with some of the early penalties.
Get a look at coaches for the Lamarck Cougars, and Joe Pacheco has the call on the field. Second down now as a penalty went against the Cougars.
Second down, 18 yards.
Second down and 18 for the Cougars. 4 wide receiver set as Curligan rolls out, passes it to Marlon Pouncey, and Pouncey with the speed has room to run and works his way all the way up to the 40-yard line. A 16-yard pickup for Marlon Pouncey before Gary House brings him down.
Yeah, I think that was the play they did on the first play of the football game. They're trying to get Pouncey in behind the defensive rush on the screen, and with his quickness and speed and shiftiness, you can see how he can get into the open field. As you can see, good throw right there by Curligan again, getting it to his back. And if any game they play in the state other than Waco, this probably goes for bigger yardage than that, but just show you how fast Waco is.
3rd down and 1, and Lamarck likes to go up the middle, but they're not going anywhere as the Waco defense does a nice job of stepping in. Antonio Johnson was the lead dog on the play as he brought down Lamarck Cougars before they could pick up the first down. And that will bring up 4th and 1 for Lamarck, and now they face a similar situation to what Waco faced earlier, but the difference being Waco was in Lamarck territory. Lamarck right now is in their own territory. If they don't convert here on this 4th and 1, they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, you're right. I think you may have to go ahead and punt this ball and give your defense a chance to play, and they might get a break right there, it looks like.
They put in Dirkland Haynes at quarterback, and he drew Waco off sides with the quick count.
Got a gift.
Yeah, very nice, and they pick up a first down, drawing Waco off sides. It was Gary House that jumped.
Boy, that Waco defense has got to be kicking themselves at that point. They got an opportunity to kind of knock some more momentum out of the Lamarck Cougars, and right there they just make a mistake and give Lamarck another chance.
So Larry Curligan is out. Dirkland Haynes is in for the Lamarck Cougars. This was the guy who was their leader at the beginning of the season, and his numbers reflect that. At 102 out of 163 passing, 1,438 yards through the air, 20 touchdowns to 11 interceptions.
Yeah, and as you can see, he's got the 11 interceptions, and it's up to him to make those less mistakes today.
Goes to Joey Florence, but in triple coverage, and the ball gets knocked away. Vince Johnson does a nice job in coverage to help break up that pass along with Terrence Kism and Edwin Evans.
Yeah, on that play, you almost have to think, somebody else had to have been open, but no, they looked like they ran the play-action fake there with only one receiver going out in the route. And as you can see, he's triple coverage right there, and it's pretty much no chance for him to bring that ball down.
Curligan back in at quarterback. He'll hand off to Pouncey, and Pouncey trying to weed his way through tacklers. Manages to get up to near midfield before LaDerrick Williams brings him down. 2nd down and 10. Now makes it 3rd down and 7 after the 3-yard gain.
Lamarck definitely has to stay out of the 3rd, medium, and 3rd and long situations. Last week, they only completed against Clemens, 0 passes on 6 attempts. So they definitely going to have to try to get something out of their passing game today.
Curligan from the gun has backs in the backfield flanking him. Little shuffle pass to Pouncey. Falls on the turf, and Waco has it.
I think that might have been an incomplete pass. They did the Utah screen right there. But the shuffle pass is what we call it.
Yeah, that does count as an incomplete pass. Waco certainly thought it was a fumble, and for a second, so did I. Bounds at the 2-yard line, although they almost made a mistake by trying to keep it inbound.
Yeah, he might have had to go find somewhere to hide if that ball jumps back in the end zone.
49-yard punt.
That's an excellent punt right there, and now you give your defense a chance to settle in and make stops for you. Now you've got the field position in your favor, and if you can make a stop down here and force them to punt out of their back of their own end zone, then you've got a chance to possibly get some points here.
2-yard line is where the Waco Lions will start, and this is a golden opportunity for the Lamarck defense to really show what they can do, try to be playmakers here as they trail Waco 7-0 with 1:46 left in the first quarter. Brian Smith calls the play. I formation in the backfield. They'll pitch it to Salubi, and Salubi has some room to run. Watch out! Jared Salubi with the speed at the 50, moving like a tremendous machine at the 20, to the 10, a 98-yard touchdown run for Jared Salubi. Holy cow, man!
99 yards, Doug. 98 yards, I'm sorry. The one thing you have to worry about down here in the end zone is that there's a lot of room to cover if you're the defense. And as you can see, if you get past that first wave of the defense, there's room to run pretty much. And as you can see, with 98 yards on the touchdown, pretty much untouched.
Jared Salubi going 98 for the Waco Lions to put them up 13-0.
Wow,
Waco coaches are in a booth near us, and they're going crazy.
That's just how you draw it up right there.
As they should. Here's the extra point attempt. It is on the way, and it is good off the foot of Cameron Curry. And our new score with 1:32 left in the first quarter. Waco with a 14-0 lead over the Lamarck Cougars, trying to capture their first state championship since 1948. And watch this run again.
As you can see, he got a great lead block, and that's all it took to spring him to 98 yards. And right now, he's turned into a sprinter and a track meet at this point, and nobody's even in the picture to come up and try to touch him. Just an impressive run right there by Jared Salubi.
And does a nice job of thanking the band as well as he gets to that far end zone.
Yeah, he just went through that hole untouched, and great blocking right there by Will Jones and Jose Alvarez to cave that defensive front of Lamarck down and creating that running lane right there.
Well, and if you're Lamarck right now, you have to be wondering what in the heck is going on. And we're the Lamarck Cougars, and we're trailing the 14-0 to the Waco Lions.
You know, that's a great point right there, Doug. You know, they got away with this situation last week against Sturts Clemens, scoring defensive touchdowns. And when you get into the state championship game, you've got to put up some points and do something positive offensively, because you can only get away with so much when you play against a great team as the Waco Lions are right now. Here's the kick, and it is taken by Joey Florence.
up at the 30-yard line, past the 35 and to the 39 before Florence goes down. A 9-yard kickoff return, and Lamarck with work to do, trailing by 2 scores with 1:28 left in the first quarter. Terrence Adkism with the tackle on the special teams.
You know, Waco is making the most out of a great situation, having been to a title game since 1948. And one of the things that I saw in the Waco Tribune quoted by the coach is that they're not just happy being here. They will definitely want to lay their claim here and win this title. You know, you come all this way, you at least want to come home with something.
Lamarck trailing by 2 touchdowns. And Curligan in the ballgame at quarterback. Will hand off to TJ Boyd, and Boyd's going to find the 41-yard line. He'll pick up about 3. Demon Hutchinson with the tackle on the play.
That's a pretty decent pickup right there on first down. If they can pick up 3 to 4 yard chunks on the ground, they're averaging a little over 145 yards on the ground, which is pretty solid. If they can continue to do that, they should be able to chance to get back in this ball game.
Curligan on 2nd down and 7 will hand off to Pouncey, and Pouncey tries to bounce it to the outside across midfield and works his way to the 46-yard line of Waco. A 15-yard pickup. Terrence Adkism with the tackle to run him out of bounds.
Yeah, he's so quick once he gets in between the tackles, and his first or second gear that he kicks into catches the defense off guard. And as you can see on that play, he just hit it and was gone.
Are these two guys, Salubi and Pouncey, not mirror images of each other?
Yes.
First down for the Cougars on the Waco 46-yard line, under a minute to go in the first quarter. Another handoff, Pouncey again to the outside, finds the corner and gets knocked out at around the 30-yard line by Terrence Adkism. And now the spot will be officially put at the 33. They're going to say that he stepped out a few yards shy of that 30-yard line, but another first down for Pouncey. And the Cougars starting to find some offensive momentum here.
And that's exactly what they needed. They needed to get first downs. Not necessarily, and it's not really a necessary time to push the panic button. You're only down by 2 scores, and it's still early in the football game, but they needed to get something going and try to pick up some momentum here.
They will hand off on the counter. Again, it's Pouncey. Marlon Pouncey picks up a couple of yards. Quentin Horn with the stop on the play.
You know, this Waco defense has a lot of pride, too, in their run defense. Last week versus Friendship, they held that offense to 29 yards total rushing, and that's saying something because that offense is very, very explosive every year, it seems like.
Yeah, they routed Friendship 38-0 in that ball game. Curligan with the pass to Florence. He catches it, 25. Up to the 20 he goes, and down to the 18-yard line. It's a 14-yard pickup for the Cougars. Antonio Johnson with the tackle on the play, but a first down for Lamarck, and that will be the last play of the first quarter. So at the end of 1, Lamarck is driving, but they're trailing 14-0. Doug Anderson and Ladera McClain back with you as we start the second quarter. And before we do, let's send it down to the sideline and check in with Dave Nom.
Hey, we have a special guest with us here. Former Waco High standout, not to mention Oklahoma All-American center Vince Carter. And Vince, this must be a proud moment seeing your alma mater, in the finals.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, I had a chance to speak to the guys this morning and just talk about what it means to be a champion and playing in a big game. You know, they have a chance to make history today in Waco, so, you know, it's a big opportunity.
No doubt about that. Now, I know you're still trying to work your way into the NFL. It's been off and on. Tell us about Adrian Peterson. Is he coming out?
I don't know. You know, that's a good question. You know, he's a lot in front of him, a lot on his plate right now. You know, opportunity to break the all-time rushing record at OU. And, you know, if he doesn't do it this year, you know, maybe there's a chance he might come back. I don't know, you know.
A great no comment, Doug.
All right, thanks a lot, and appreciate Vince Carter there spending some time with us. Marlon Pouncey tried to throw the ball into the end zone on the halfback option play, but His intended receiver, Desmond Haynes, couldn't come up with it. There was a flag down in the end zone. Looks like they might tag Edwin Evans with an interference penalty. That would really cheese the Waco fans, but right now the officials are talking about it.
Ball uncatchable, looks like.
They're going to wave off that flag.
That was Marlon Pouncey's second pass he's attempted all season long, and it looked like if he would have stuck with the run at that point, he might have picked up some positive yards, because from our view, looked like his intended receiver out there was definitely locked up and covered pretty well.
And now his completion percentage drops to 50% because his only other pass was a 23-yard touchdown. He was 1 of 1.
You know, if I'm Lamarck, you really don't need to come out with the trick plays. You've had success doing your basic stuff.
Here's Curligan up the middle, and Curligan to the 15-yard line, picks up 3. Reggie Young, the tackler for the Lions. Waco's defense only allowing about 59 yards a game. There is a flag on the field. And this is a sideline warning now to the Lamarck side. So both teams have been issued warnings.
Right.
Next time it's a penalty.
It's penalties, yeah, and you definitely want to have nothing like that, you know, costing your football team, especially in a game of this magnitude. But, you know, it's tough just to stand there on the sideline when you play offense and your defense is out there. You want to get close as you can to the action, and you just don't find yourself sometimes behind the white line like you're supposed to. You just keep creeping up towards the sideline.
3rd down and 7 for the Cougars. 2 backs in the backfield flanking Curligan. He lines up at the gun. And Curligan going to throw the fade to Florence. Turning, reaching for it, but can't catch it. Antonio Johnson, Vince Johnson rather, was there in coverage, along with Peter Smith.
I believe Peter Smith got a good hand on that ball that time. And it looked like Joseph Florence was going to pull that ball in. And we got a little bit of, I think maybe a little bit of taunting there by the defensive back that time, Peter Smith.
And that's going to bring a penalty Waco's way. So Joseph Florence, you see his numbers, almost a 1,000-yard receiving season coming into the game. Misses on that one, but the penalty against the Lions. Joel Pacheco giving us the indication on the penalty, and that will give Lamarck a new set of downs, 1st and goal from the 7-yard line.
As you can see, Lamarck has brought their stud defensive linebacker, Leonard Dines, in the ball game right here. So they're pretty much going to their power set when they bring the big fella in there. Wouldn't be surprised if they start tossing the ball to his side.
High formation, pitch to Pouncey. Pouncey following blockers, trying to work his way through. Works it down inside the 5-yard line. Picks up just a couple. 2nd down and goal coming up.
Boy, both of these football teams have so much speed. It just looks like a mini track meet with each play that goes on. These guys are running so well, and they cover so much ground. It's very, very exciting to watch.
Damon Hutchinson and Tony Jones, rather, making the stop on the play. Upcoming, the 10th play of the drive for Lamarck. This has definitely been a drive that has consumed both yards and time. 11:03 left in the first half, and Lamarck shut out in the first quarter, 14-0, looking for their first points of the game.
Yeah, and I think you almost have to get in here if you don't pick up the touchdown here. You almost have to think about on the 3rd and 4th down, maybe throwing the ball up to Joey Florence here and trying to get something on the board.
Florence with 14 touchdown receptions on the year.
You know, it really surprised me that they're playing man single coverage out here on Florence. He's such a big play receiver with great size out there. It just surprised me that they aren't trying to roll their coverage, but they're pretty much attacking the run at this point too.
High formation, 2nd down and goal from the 4-yard line. Hurdling, Pouncey trying to find the corner, puts a stiff arm up, and now will go down at the 6. He's going to lose a couple of yards on the play. Great effort by Pouncey, but the Waco defense was just too quick. Terrence Adkins and Edwin Evans stringing Pouncey out.
Yeah, they went away from their strength at that point right there. They tried to go with the little stretch run, and trying to get the running back on the outside and pretty much playing to the hands of Waco with their speed. They need to try to do something up between the tackles. As you can see, he leaped at that point, and that gives the defense time to recover.
New package coming in for Lamarck. It looks like they will go to the air here. They split two receivers either way. Pouncey in the backfield with Curligan. Now man in motion. They'll throw it on the slant, incomplete. Pass was intended for Desmond Haynes, but a nice job by Edwin Evans playing defense, and Curligan threw that ball just a shade behind as well.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that it looked dead from the get-go because you had nobody pulling that linebacker, making him stay at home, because when the linebacker reads pass, his natural instincts is to drop to the flat or to the slant zone, and that's exactly what happened at that time right there.
Denroy Van Horn coming on to attempt the field goal. This will be a 28-yard attempt. Kick is on the way, and it is good. And Lamarck has their first points of the night. 9:58 remaining in the first half, and Waco leading the Cougars 14-3. Let's go down to the sideline now and check in with Dave Nomler.
All right, we're here with a couple of Lamarck legends from that 2003 title team, Rashad Bobineau and Larry Curligan. There we go. They got the state championship ring. We'll get a glimpse of that in just a minute. Larry, your brother out there trying to lead his team to another state championship. What have you been telling him, and what do you see so far?
You're doing a good job. I just talking about the be calm, stay calm, and be a leader. Lead your team to a victory. Defense gonna help you. Defense win championship. Offense sell tickets. So you right there and you play your game.
All right. Now we also have Rashad Bobineau, linebacker for the University of Texas, instead of Larry playing for Grambling right now. And Rashad, you're going to be back here in a week or so, and one of your future teammates, as long as he signs, is going to be right there with you someday. But tell me about Lamarck here and just being in the Alamo Dome, getting ready for things.
Just being in the Alamo Dome, I started my career here, my first game in high school, ended it last game in high school, and to be back, let's have the same opportunity, thanking the Alamo Bowl for this, to come back and play here again is going to be a great thing for us.
All right, you guys cheering your Cougars on, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. We're trying to take state again for the 5th time.
All right, we'll see about that. Doug, back up to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave, and good shout out to that photographer with a mohawk, too. Yeah. I thought it was kind of interesting.
It is in Christmas colors. His hair was red.
Jared Salubi will take the kick at the 10-yard line. And Salubi looking for some room to run, works it up to the 19. And that'll be about as far as he goes. 9-yard return on the kick. And now Waco with the offense coming back out on the field, leading by 11, 14-3. Ron Goodwin with the tackle on the play.
Jared Salubi on that return right there. Only has 2 prior returns coming into this football game, but his longest actually was 53 yards, so that's probably the reason why they got him back there. You usually don't see that a lot of times. Football teams put in their starting tailback back there.
High formation for the Lions. 1st and 10 from their own 19-yard line. Dugas with the handoff, and he's going nowhere. Stopped shy of the 20. Credit that Lamarck defense with a good stand as Leonard Dines leads the way on the tackle. Dines, leading tackler on this team, 137 stops on the year. Lamarck's defense known for their quickness and their aggressiveness.
Right, and they're also known as the Black Mob defense.
That's right.
Or the men all about business.
Right, a lot of people have black shirts, black flag, whatever. They're the Black Mob.
Black Mob, and as you spoke of Leonard Dines, he had a fumble recovery for a touchdown last week.
Here's a pass. Smith going deep, incomplete. No flags intended for Ronald Horn, but good coverage back there by James Thomas, as Thomas ran step for step with the leading Waco receiver.
Yeah, you usually don't see that out of your free safety. They're not known for their coverage ability skills, and as you can see, James Thomas is one of the highly recruited defensive backs in the state. Pretty much going to have his pick at the litter of where he wants to go, and right there was step for step with the leading receiver right there, Ronald Horn.
3rd down and 9 coming up. Ball on the 20-yard line. 9:06 remaining in the first half. Waco on top, 14-3. Smith flips it in the backfield to Salubi. And Salubi across the 20 to the 21, going out of bounds up near the 22-yard line. Only a couple of yards on the game. Keith Tolbert runs him out of bounds along with Gaston Benson. But a good defensive stand by Lamarck this time forces Waco to punt on 4th and 7.
And that's a great sign. You've got your offense kind of somewhat clicking as well, and now your defense comes out here and makes an excellent stop at the right time. And now you've got a chance to get the ball back and maybe capitalize on this opportunity, maybe build up some more points.
Two men go back deep for Lamarck. Curry with the punt, a spiraling kick. Joe Florence is going to take it across the 35, and rather Philip Purvis will take it, and he is going to be hit and dropped at the 36-yard line, a 44-yard punt, and Purvis is still down on the play.
Well, he got a shot in the back. I don't know if you can probably see it on the replay or not, but that was a pretty wicked hit. It looks like it was in the middle of his back. And that just pretty much, when you get a shot like that, it just paralyzes your body, so to speak. You get that feeling.
So an injured Lamarck Cougar on the field, and we'll attend to him. That's Philip Purvis, the senior for the Lamarck Cougars.
And as you can see, he got kind of wound up in a little bit crowd right there of the Waco defenders. Can't really tell it at that point right there. There was a lot of stuff going on around the lower part of his legs.
And Purvis getting up, being helped off the field.
That's a tough one right there. You hope he can definitely get back in the football game, because he's one of their defensive tacklers, one of those leaders on the defense, the weak side outside linebacker there in his 3-4.
Favoring the right leg as he comes off, and Lamarck with the football, 1st and 10 on their own 38-yard line. Lamarck's Cougars, as Rashad Bobineau mentioned, 4-time state champions, the last coming in 2003. Triple overtime win over Denton Ryan here at the Alamo Dome. Hand off to Pouncey, and Pouncey gets tackled after a short gain. Looked like Tevin Clark was in there to make the tackle. Tevin Clark, the middle linebacker for this Waco defense. Tomorrow, 2 games here at the Alamo Dome. The 5A D1 and D2 championships. The D2 game kicking off at 2 o'clock. Cedar Hill and Cy Falls out of the Houston area. And jump off sides for the Waco Lions.
You almost have to see there and look at this play. Was he pulled off on that side this time? No, it wasn't. Encroachment.
Encroachment. Gary House with the penalty, and House will run to the sideline. Probably hear a word or two from Johnny Tusa.
Well, if you look at the size of the, like I was saying, you look at the size of this offensive line of Lamarck, as you can see what's going on here up front. Yeah, he jumped in the neutral zone as the ball was snapped, so that's definitely offsides or encroachment on the defense. But you look at the size of this offensive line of Lamarck, especially on that right side. You got Andre McGaskey, who's going to the University of Texas. Man, they just got some beef on that right side of that line.
They'll hand it off to Pouncey, and Pouncey will pick up a couple of yards across the 45-yard line. Tevin Clark with the tackle on the play. Checking into the ballgame is Darren Richardson for Waco after Gary House went off. Richardson, the 6'2", 185-pound senior. Although looking at him down there, he looks bigger than 185 to me.
Yeah, he does.
A big young man.
Just so many of these kids today playing high school football are just so much bigger than the Stone Ages when I played. You know, a guy at 6 foot, maybe 180 pounds was considered a big man then.
Lamarck goes up the middle across the 50-yard line, fighting for the first down on the play. was Leonard Dines. Dines, the defensive player, checks in on offense and picks up the first down. Darren Richardson with the tackle.
That's trying to get your seniors out there and letting them make plays when you get Leonard Dines out there at the fullback position. And he's a load himself, especially running up in the tackle there. And that's good again. Lamarck has picked up another first down. They can definitely try to keep continuing to build off this momentum.
Curligan stays in at quarterback. First down and 10 on the Waco 49-yard line. High snap. Curligan brings it down and now runs and works his way to the 47-yard line before he is dragged back by LeDedrick Williams. Makeup of just a couple on the play.
Yeah, LeDedrick Williams stayed at home that time, read pass and read his keys, and kept his eyes on the quarterback, because up here it looked like it was going to be a bigger play than what it actually was. And just a great open field tackle right there on an elusive Jarius Curligan that time.
Brings up second down and 8 from the 47, and you get a little replay of the action here as Curligan sidesteps one would-be tackler, but then a nice job on the play by LeDedrick Williams to spin him around and put him on the ground. Curligan will hand off to Pouncey. He bounces off tackles, now breaks through another 40-yard line and skips up to the 35 before he's knocked down. Reggie Young stopping him on the play, but a 13-yard pickup for Marlon Pouncey, and Pouncey picks up the first down for Lamarck.
Again, showing his elusiveness as he goes outside on the run play there. Just a simple handoff out of that shotgun formation. Gets to the outside of the defense, and that time LeDedrick Williams couldn't make the tackle, giving Pouncey right there an extra little room to get some more yards and pick up that first down.
Pouncey looking like a pinball in an arcade game there for a minute. First down and 10 from the Waco 34. Handoff across the 30-yard line to Boyd, and Boyd's going to do a nice job that time. Victor Johnson with the tackle on the play, but Boyd picks up a good 6-7 yards.
That's another good chunk right there by the offensive line, picking up their blocks up front, and they're kind of setting the tone here from this point out. As you can see, as the TJ Boyd gets on that other side of the offensive line that time and gets up a big chunk of yards on first down.
Second down and 5.
It's a perfect down right here for the play-action pass.
Dirkland Haynes has checked in, and Haynes will keep it. He sidesteps tacklers and picks up the first down as he nears the 20-yard line. Victor Johnson makes the tackle on the play, but a nice job by Dirkland Haynes on the run to pick up the first down.
Yeah, Dirkland Haynes coming in. He gives them another dimension at that quarterback position. He's got great moves and great vision. Also with 7 touchdowns on the ground, so he's definitely an imposing threat at that quarterback position.
Let's go down to the sideline for an injury report. Dave Knobler there.
Well, it doesn't look good right now for Philip Purvis. Preliminary reports are saying some torn tendons, not his ACL, but most likely his MCL, as he is in a big brace.
Dirkland Haynes looks downfield, doesn't have anywhere to throw. Now he'll run. He gets popped, but he crosses the 20-yard line and works it down to the 18. Pick up a 4 yards for Dirkland Haynes. Antonio Johnson coming in to make the tackle, one of the leading tacklers on this Waco squad.
That's certainly devastating news and terrible news for the senior Philip Purvis. But on that football play right there, that's a great decision right there by Dirkland Haynes to pull that football down. His receiver out there, Joseph Florence, was double covered once again, and he pulls it down and gets some positive yards for his team.
Jarius Curligan checking back in, under 4 minutes to play first half. Hands off to Pouncey, and Pouncey's going nowhere. He's going to get stopped at the 20-yard line. That's going to be a loss of a couple. The Waco Lions continue to do a nice job defensively. Josh Hicks this time leading the way, the 6'2", 220-pound junior. And we have another Lamarque Cougar down on the turf. The officials timeout here with 3:34 remaining in the first half. This coming up will be the 10th play of the drive for the Cougars. It's Ian Jackson, the tight end, who's on the floor of the Alamo Dome being treated to right now.
You know, Lamarck has definitely gotten some more momentum going, another 10-play drive, and the potential to get more points, as you definitely don't want to see one of your fallen teammates down there. You want to see him get up, and that's good that he's moving up on his own power, it looks like. Little gimpy.
Ian Jackson coming off, being helped by the trainers, but for the most part under his own power, and that's a good sign. Lamarck doesn't need any more injuries. Already Philip Purvis is out of this ball game. 3rd down and 8 for the Cougars. They check the sideline to get the play call. 4 receivers, 2 split either way. And now a timeout called, as Waco wants to burn a timeout here with 3:21 remaining in the first half. The Lions lead it 14-3 in this 4A Division II state championship game, being brought to you live on AT&TBlueRoom.com.
I think this is the coolest thing to have it broadcast on the worldwide net like this. I've never really had or heard anything about too many football games, let alone high school football games, being broadcast over the net like that. It's really something interesting.
You know, the internet is very popular right now with as far as radio broadcasts for high school football. You have a lot of schools that are doing it themselves. You even get students in there doing it on the internet, their high school football team's radio broadcast, but it's a different animal when you start talking about a live webcast television-wise. I mean, using video and audio, and that is where it gets a little interesting, and that's where we're making history tonight, because a Texas high school football state championship game has never been televised live on the internet. We're doing that tonight.
Well, that's exactly an exciting point to be a part of history, being part of something like this. And to do it in the state of Texas, what a better way to start than do it out here as one of the state championship games, where you're always going to get a great matchup with 2 great teams.
After the timeout, we're back to play. 3:21 remaining in the first half. Waco leads Lamarck 14-3, but Lamarck on the move. 10 plays so far in this drive, as they are down to the Waco 20-yard line. Carligan out of the gun. Will throw the slant to Florence, and Florence has the catch, and the catch at the 12-yard line. Now falls down at the 6. Tony Jones with the tackle on the play, but a nice job for Joey Florence of picking up the first down.
That's a heck of a throw right there by Jarius Curligan. A nice, simple slant route right there by Joseph Florence. And on that play right there, it's up to the receiver to beat his man. And he beat a heck of a defensive back in Tony Jones, getting to that inside position and picking up the first down.
First and goal from the 7-yard line for Lamarck. They had the exact same situation when they settled for a field goal. They had it first and goal from the 7. To see if they can get 6 on the board here. Pouncey to the 5, puts his head down and falls at the 3. Marlon Pouncey with a 4-yard gain. Gary House in there to make the tackle.
That's what they have to do. They have to stick to the bread and butter plays, run in between the tackles. You've got the big fella out there again, Leonard Dines, leading the way. And that's what they're going to probably have most success doing instead of going outside at this point.
This would be a huge score for Lamarck if they can punch this one in. Would give them a chance to make it a 14-10 ball game with around 2.5 minutes left to go in the first half. High formation. Second and goal from the 3. They'll give it to Dines, and Dines puts his head down and he breaks the plane. Touchdown, Lamarck Cougars.
The big fella gets in that time, and nothing pretty fancy to that play. Just hand it off to your big guy, let him go in and punch for the touchdown.
Big Leonard Dines, one of the leading tacklers for this Lamarck defense, has his number called offensively, and he picks up the 3-yard touchdown run to make it 14-9. So Lamarck now with a chance to make this a 4-point ball game, or if they go for 2 and convert, it would be a 3-point game.
I'm not a big fan of that. It's a little too early in the game to be chasing points at this time. You want to get your sure points. There's a lot of football left in the game. You've got 2 minutes left in the whole game. You can make a kick off and maybe stop and try to kick a field goal again. So Doug, I honestly don't agree with this right here at this time. Then again, if they get it, I'll probably shut up at the same time.
Going for two, Dirkland Haynes is the quarterback. He throws it, caught. The two-point conversion is made. On the receiving end of that one was Shane Cams, and Cams converts the two. Now it's a three-point ball game. Lamarck trails 14-11 here at the 4A Division II state championship. Down 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. They've got a lot of momentum as we wind down the first half.
You're exactly right, Doug, and that's exactly what they needed. And that, again, proving you why I'm up here in the booth and not down there on the sideline coaching or anything like that. Coach Brian Irvin felt confident with the play. They ran it and executed it, and here we are down to a three-point ball game, and now they're definitely back in this game.
14-11 our score as we play with 2:14 remaining in the first half. The 4A D2 championship from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Doug Anderson, LaDarren McClain, Dave Knobler down on the sidelines. Very happy that you're with us tonight watching high school football on the web.
The intensity is definitely picked up with the crowds. Both of these teams getting back into the ball game. And for a little bit, it was a defensive struggle for a little bit, and now you've got some more points scored on the board, and now it's pretty much anybody's ball game.
Lamarck and Waco doing a little bit of, tribal ritualizing there. I don't know.
Who can dance the best, pretty much.
Exactly.
A dance-off.
Well, this is the first time that we've had a chance to see Lamarck kick the ball away. And away it goes down to the 10-yard line. Salubi will take it. Actually, it's the second time. Salubi returning it all the way up to the 40-yard line where he is upended. He goes head over heels, hit by James Thomas. Salubi tough, though. He gets up and shakes it off. A 28-yard return for Jared Salubi. And Waco has plenty of time here to work at the end of the first half. They could put more points on the board.
Absolutely, and they've got a quarterback with a strong arm, and Brian Smith, and they definitely have the receivers to go get the ball as well. Ronald Horn out there, 29 receptions on the year with 6 touchdowns. They definitely have the field position to definitely take some shots down here and try to move the chains and maybe get a field goal.
Let's see what they do. Offset eye. They'll pitch Salubi. And Jared Salubi works his way to the 45 and falls at the 46-yard line. A 6-yard pickup for Jared Salubi, the 5'10", 195-pound junior for the Waco Lions, tackled on the play by Marcus Frank.
You still have time in the ball game here. You've got, not sure how many timeouts they have left, but I believe they've got pretty much maybe 2 timeouts. You still got an opportunity to still kind of run the ball. You need to take some shots maybe down here on the sidelines here, maybe put the ball in the air.
Well, that's the one thing about the Alamo Dome. It's a great facility, but they don't have the game summary on the scoreboard very much, and it's kind of hard to read sometimes as the screen pass goes into the flat where Gaston Benson makes the tackle on Brian Dugas. Keith Tolbert is in there as well.
That's a smart play right there by Brian Dugas to get out of bounds and conserving the timeout. And now you've got a third and looks like right at a yard here in the play. You pretty much can go ahead and try to pick up the first down like you normally would, but you need to have maybe a backup play here to call and hurry up and get to the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and 1. Salubi picks up the first down and then some as he works it across the 45 down to the 43-yard line before Lance Owens makes the tackle on the play. Thought I might have saw a face mask in there, but no flag on the play.
That's a good play right there, especially when you've got a running back like Jared Salubi picking up a big chunk of yards right there. And now they've got a chance here with the clock running down. They've got 30 seconds. They may need to get a little bit of sense of urgency.
Waco back to action here, throwing it deep and incomplete as the pass was intended on the play for Looked like Robert Alexander, perhaps. Gaston Benson was there in coverage.
I like that call, though. They got the coverage that they wanted. They wanted the safety over the top. Gaston Benson covering their elusive, looks like their tight end that time. And that's the matchup they wanted to get that ball out there that time.
Austin Nunn was the intended receiver on the play. My apologies. As Waco works it 2nd down and 10 on the Lamarck 43-yard line.
Doug, now you've got 19 seconds. You really can't afford to do any kind of run play at this point, so you're forced to almost put it in the air.
Running it up the middle is Dugas, and Brian Dugas to the 42-yard line before Quentin Jones brings him down. He only picks up a yard, and now there is a timeout on the field as Waco wants to call the timeout. I believe that was their second of the first half. Only 13 seconds left to go in the half, and now some strategy time for the Waco Lions. Do they take that shot at the end zone here at the end, or do they try to run perhaps one play to work it down into field goal range? They have a pretty good kicking unit. Their special teams is not bad, and Cameron Curry has shown to be pretty good from longer ranges, as he is 4 for 4 for field goals between 30 and 39 yards this year. So if they can get him in that range, their chances are decent.
Yeah, and they're going to have to probably pick up just a little over maybe 10 yards to 12 yards to get in that range. Right now, they're at probably about almost over 50 yards on the kick right now. So they're definitely going to have to get a big chunk of yardage and get a quick timeout.
13 seconds is enough to run certainly one play, as Brian Smith under center now drops back, avoids the rush, throws it deep, has a man caught and in and out of his hands. The pass was to Philip Jimenez, and Jimenez had it in his mitts, but he could not hold on to it. Alvin Taylor was there in coverage, but that was all Philip Jimenez, and he just is kicking himself right now.
Yeah, that's the kind of play that'll be kicking you all night. You won't be able to go to sleep on that. An excellent play by his quarterback to avoid the rush and then have the capacity to put the ball on the money, and that's one that you just got to help your quarterback out, especially in this situation.
So perhaps one more play and a flag, 2 flags come in before the play can even get started. Lamarck seems to be happy. They think it's going against Waco, and it is.
Wow, Doug, what a turn of events right there. You pretty much have a sure touchdown to only have it dropped, and then all of a sudden you've got a penalty here, pretty much throwing any kind of chance you have right now.
Illegal formation against Waco, and that will take them definitely out of any hopes that they might have had for a field goal. Now, with 7 seconds left, the best they can really hope for is the Hail Mary to the end zone.
And Brian Smith has the arm. He can definitely put it down there. We just saw it a play ago.
Trips to the right. Smith falls down, and that's a dead ball in high school football.
It's down.
Your knee hits the ground, and you're down. It doesn't matter if anybody touches you or not. That was 4th down, I believe, as well for Waco, so the ball will be turned over to the Lamarck Cougars, who will have 3 seconds to do what they will with it.
Doug, that's got to haunt the sideline of Waco at this point. And let's remember this sequence of football towards the end of the game, because that could definitely come back and haunt Waco, as they had an opportunity right there to definitely go up by 10 points.
The one thing they have going in their favor, they do get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, but certainly they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth going to the halftime locker room, even though they have the 14-11 lead. There's a timeout on the field as Lamarck wants to talk about what they might want to try here with 3 seconds left in the first half.
You know, usually in a situation like this, you've got 3 seconds left in the half. A lot of times coaches like to do the screen. It's a safe play. You don't have to worry about a lot of times having it picked off and you having a defensive back running it back all the way on you. But this time you can maybe get a screen and get the blockers out there in front, especially with a guy like Marion Pouncey, to get him in the open field and maybe take the distance.
Johnny Tusa, longtime head coach of the Waco Lions. Been a part of the program since the two Waco schools consolidated to form Waco High, 1986.
They've got a bunch of receivers down here to the right of Curligan down here. Bunch of receivers down here with single coverage to both of those, actually up on top.
The trip's right, and Curligan's going to make a quick throw out of bounds, and that will be the last play of the first half. So at the end of one, 14-11, Waco leading Lamarck, and time now to send it down to the sideline. Check in with Dave Knobler, who's with Johnny Tusa.
All right, Coach, you had the momentum in the first quarter. Obviously, you lost it in the second. It's got to be a little disconcerting for you.
Well, it is. We played too much defense that half, but we've still got the lead, and we get the ball starting off in the third quarter. We feel really good.
What adjustments can you make to try and get that momentum back?
Well, we got to tackle better, for one thing. Eliminate our penalties. We had them stop down here. We get a taunting penalty. You know, those things are uncalled for, but that's part of the game. There's two good teams going at it. They got a heck of a football team. We think we do, too. It's going to be a heck of a second half.
All right, that's Coach Tusa. Doug?
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate it. 14-11 our score here at halftime at the Alamo Dome as Waco leads Lamarck in the 4A Division II state championship ball game. This was a game that saw the Waco Lions jump out to a 14-0 lead, but now they only lead by 3. We'll be back with the halftime festivities here in a moment on AT&T Broadband.
Well, one thing you never want to do is get into a limbo contest with a drum major on the Lamarck band there. That's not a good idea. You will lose. Don't play them for money. What you do need to do is come right back. Stay with us as we return from San Antonio, the 4A Division II state final. You see the score. Waco over Lamarck, 14-11. welcome back to the Alamo Dome. The team from Waco beating the team from the Houston area by 3 points, but we are certainly in for an exciting second half. About to throw it upstairs, but some closing comments here. We talked about the first half a little bit. What do you see happening here in the second half, Jake?
Well, Waco has the lead, but they really need to get their offense some rhythm, and the same with Lamarck, although they kind of established them late with that final touchdown and going for two. A big play there. They've got the momentum coming out of the half, so Waco just needs some more consistency on offense, and it wouldn't hurt Lamarck to have some either.
What struck me is that Lamarck coming in, they've been here before, so to speak, the freshmen, and they were the ones that were a little jittery, making the costly mistakes early on, and yet they turned it around. But the confidence on the Cougars sidelines was evident. Coach Irwin was going up to his players saying, we know we're going to score. It's 14-3. Don't sweat it. It's going to be 14-10 at the half. He actually sold his guys short a little bit because it turns out, as you know, to be 14-11.
That's exactly right. Their confidence grew, and that's where that experience helps. Being down 14-0, they didn't fold. You know, a lot of teams could have really started to second-guess themselves, and the way they came back to cut it to a field goal, as a Lamarck fan, you got to like your chances in the second half.
No doubt. If I'm a Lamarck fan, I'm sitting there saying, hey, take away a couple of big plays, and we've got a commanding lead right
exactly
now.
Right.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up momentarily from the field. Let's send it up to the press box and Doug Anderson.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Thanks a lot, Jake. And we appreciate you down on the field here at the Alamo Dome at halftime as we get ready to kick off the second half between Lamarck and Waco High. Waco leading 14-11. Let's take a look at how that first half went down, as it was all Waco early on in this ball game. Curligan throwing the interception there. Victor Johnson picks it up and takes it 35 yards back the other way for the first score of the ball game to put Waco up 7-0. And then inside their own end zone, Jared Salubi takes the ball and he goes 105 yards basically for a 98-yard touchdown run. Jared Salubi with the sprint here at the Alamo Dome, putting Waco up 14-0. But then Lamarck would come back as they were able to get some nice plays from a variety of different players. They got the field goal that they needed from Denroy Van Horn, and then touchdown from Haynes as they were able to, or Daines as they were able to run that ball in for the touchdown. And now let's take a look at the first half stats in the ball game, and really when you look at it, Ladirin, Lamarck very much in this ball game statistically. Look at the time of possession. They owned the time of possession in the first half. They had 8 more first downs. It's just that Waco took advantage of some key plays.
Exactly right, and if you take away the touchdown, the interception return for a touchdown, we've got a different ball game here, let alone it is 3 points. And the one thing that sticks out on this graphic right here is the one turnover. That's pretty much the difference in the ball game at this point.
The Jared Salubi touchdown run was a thing of beauty. Let's had a chance to look at that earlier, and now Salubi on the catch here as he goes out of bounds on that screenplay. And more Salubi as he goes up the middle. Trey Salubi with 133 yards in the first half on 7 carries, and really was a main factor for the Waco High offense in that first half of play.
Absolutely, especially when you go 98 yards on one play. That definitely helps your average out on the day. So right now, he's definitely a big focal point in this ball game. They're going to have to continue to get him the ball. They're going to have to hold on to this lead here.
And of course, it was Leonard Dines with the touchdown for the Lamarck Cougars. I want to make sure that I said his name right. Leonard Dines, the defensive lineman, coming in on the offensive side to make the touchdown for the Lamarck Cougars as they trail by 3 in this 4A Division II title game. And you see Lamarck, their mascot, their cheerleading squad, everybody trying to get the fans fired up here as they try to come back all the way from that 14-point deficit at the end of the first quarter.
And Lamarck has been able to dodge some bullets. More evident at the end of the first half. You had a sure touchdown dropped by Philip Jimenez, and that definitely could come back and haunt Waco. As you can see that Waco offensively hasn't really sustained a drive of substantial yards thus far. They've been scored on big plays.
So we get ready to kick it off here in the second half. Doug Anderson along with Ladera McClain. Dave Knobler will be joining us from time to time on the sideline. A pleasure to be in the Alamo City tonight. San Antonio, one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and certainly every time I come down here, I was last down here, I guess, maybe a year ago. It just seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and more stuff keeps popping up everywhere you turn.
Yeah, it's the new place to go to in the South. If you don't go to Dallas, if you don't go to Houston, well, the next best alternative to that is San Antonio. There's so much to offer for any family coming here, especially if you're anybody just on vacation, a lot of entertainment as well.
Doing the dance, getting ready to get down tonight here in the second half. Waco and Lamarck, and we are happy that you're with us on AT&TBlueRoom.com. Denroy Van Horn will kick the ball away for the Cougars to be taken by either Jared Salubi or, well, let's forget the or, it's Salubi at the 10-yard line. Speed up to the 25 as he falls at the 27-yard line. Charles Silman, the other back that would have received the kick. Shelton Williams with the tackle on Salubi on the special teams, and Waco will get the ball to start things off at their own 27-yard line. I think at the 28.
Doug, it's important at this point right now that Waco gets something positive offensively. As I stated before, they haven't really done anything to milk the clock or get any big chunks of yardage yet. As you're looking at the quarterback comparison here, both of these quarterbacks haven't really been effective through the air, so it's important for their offensive lines to take control at this point.
Salubi with the handoff, fighting through tackles, and works his way up to the 35. A pickup of 7 yards. Ryan Biagas with the tackle on the play, but Jared Salubi picking up where he left off in the first half, up to 140 yards on the night.
He's just a solid runner. He can pretty much do everything. He can run outside and run inside, and we definitely know he has the speed with that 98-yard sprint that he had untouched. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a heavy dose of Mr. Salubi this half.
Second down and 3, I formation in the backfield. Hand off to Dugas. Brian Dugas works his way up near the first down marker to the 38-yard line before he's hit by Mike Settler and Raphael Guidry. This might call for a measurement here depending on the spot. As you see the Lamarck Pep squad cheering on their team.
For my first time to be in the Alamo Dome, this is definitely something to see. It's very accommodating and a great place to host a state championship football game.
Been coming to the Alamo Dome since 1996. My very first trip here was when this was a brand new facility, and by the way, they're short on the first down by about half a foot. I came down here as a young radio reporter to cover the Cowboys preseason matchup with the Houston Oilers, and they were the Houston Oilers at the time, not the Tennessee Titans. And I just remember being in awe of this place, thinking, man, this is such a neat facility. And it was only after I really started doing high school games here that I realized what a neat place it is, because if you're a broadcaster, this is about the best place to watch a football game because you have such a tremendous view of the field. Jared Salubi with the run. He picks up the first down and goes across the 40-yard line. And let's send it down to the sideline now and check in with Dave Knobler.
Well, Doug, stay with me here. And LD, I'm just taking a survey here on blueroom.att.com/sports. You see the link here, and it says Blue Room Survey. All right, you guys ready? A friend or family member is playing in the game. Does that apply to either one of you guys?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. We want you. Are you either one of you an alumni of the school that's playing? I don't even think you guys went to high school, so that doesn't apply.
Probably not.
I am a student at one of the schools playing. Well, I know. No, okay, that's not you either. But I do live in the community of one of the schools, technically here. I can even watch myself on the internet, on my computer anyway. That's pretty cool. So I checked that one. It says, are you watching a specific recruit from my college? And I had to say, yes, I am.
And who would that be?
That would be a certain lineman named Andre McGaskey.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, yes.
And we'll talk to Randy Rogers in a little while. Here, I'll let you call the game. We'll keep the mic going here, but call this and come back.
All right, thank you. On second down and 8, Salubi with the pitch. Avoids trouble across midfield. Now he has the speed to the 30, down to the 20-yard line and dragged out of bounds by Alvin Taylor, but Another tremendous run by Jared Salubi. This time he goes 27 yards.
Yeah, you hit it on the head there, Doug. He is a tremendous runner. I think if anybody else gets this ball other than Salubi, they're tackled for a loss in the backfield. He weaves his way through the defense, so to speak, for a sure loss and takes it almost the distance that time, and a horse collar tackle to save the touchdown by Alvin Taylor. And man, what a great run right here, great vision. And he has that low center of gravity as well. And as you can see, that was the touchdown saving tackle right there.
Alvin Taylor.
I've got it made in the stands here, guys. They're coming right at me. I've got the laptop, and I don't have time to take the rest of the survey at the moment.
Yeah, don't worry about that survey right now. Salubi's coming your way at the 15, cuts it inside past the 10-yard line and down to the 9. 9-yard pickup. Alvin Taylor again with the tackle, but Jared Salubi showing that dominance from the first half. It's carrying over into the second half of play.
Yeah, you can tell the sign of a great back. Their momentum gets stronger and stronger as the game goes along. As you can see, just on 11 rushes right there, already 178 yards. This is a very, very strong performance right here by Jared Salubi.
First down and goal from the 9-yard line. Salubi, the single setback. He'll take the handoff. This time falls forward for perhaps a yard before he is met by Brian Rittell. Jared Salubi, not the only running back in that Waco backfield with big yardage on the year, although tonight you would think so, given the fact that he has really controlled things. But the two Dugas boys, BK and Brian Dugas, both have nice yardage numbers, as does Charles Silman, and we really haven't even seen Silman tonight.
That's a great point. We hadn't seen him, and you know, my thinking is you really hadn't had to need him at this point right now. You've got Jared Salubi pretty much picking up 4 and 5 yards a pop, and his average is well over that now.
Salubi bounces off one hit but loses the football, now has to dive on it. There is a scramble for it. Lamarck's coming away from the pile saying they have it, but no official indication yet. And now there is one. Lamarck football. Leonard Dines comes up from the scrum with the ball in hand, and Salubi makes the first error that he's made all evening.
Right, that's the only one thing right now that looks like it'll probably slow him down. And Doug, again, put this in your memory banks once again. You had a chance to get up big on your opponent right here at Waco, and at Salubi, it looks like he has the ball well secured, but he got a little bit off balance as he shrugs off Thomas there and just dropped the football. And man, if you're Waco, you've got to be hitting yourself in the head double times here. You've got a chance to put your opponent away almost.
Looked like it was Lance Owens, the senior, who knocked the ball away from Salubi, and then Dines came up with it. So a big turn of events here for Lamarck. See if they can capitalize. They lose the snap, and Waco jumps on it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, it looked like a Waco Lion jumped on it, but no official indication yet from the officials. Lamarck is saying they still have it. Boy, there were 4 Waco Lions around it. If they didn't get it, I don't know how.
Oh, my goodness.
They did not, however. It is still Lamarck football as the offensive lineman, Mike Ray, came up with it. Well, I'd like to see a replay. Here we go. As
boy, that ball just got kicked out, and there he is right there.
In his hands. It was in his hands.
That looked like Antonio Johnson down there that had it in his hands, like you said, Doug. And wow, I guess it gets wrestled away down there when the pileup goes. That's what usually happens.
So a second chance at life for the Lamarck Cougars. They hand it off up the middle on second down. Marlon Pouncey going nowhere as he's hit by Quentin Horn.
Lamarck definitely has to be careful down here. You're in that shotgun pretty much throughout the entire ball game. The snap has been a little bit off center, just a little bit. It's been high, just like we saw the previous play that went over the quarterback's head, or through his hands actually. So they definitely have to be careful down here in their own end zone.
Third down and 12 coming up for the Cougars. Now they're having some personnel issues trying to get the right guys on the field. Play clock is down to 9 seconds. We've got 4 receivers in the ball game. Curligan will flip it out of the backfield to Pouncey. Pouncey fights past one tackler up to the 15-yard line, and down he goes At about the 19, that's good enough for a first down. LeDedrick Williams makes the tackle, but Marlon Pouncey comes up with a big play.
Yeah, that's a coach right there having faith in his offense and trusting his quarterback. You run a screen with in the back of your own end zone, just letting the rush of the defensive line just come get your quarterback. And as you can see, he dumped it off to Pouncey right there. Pouncey, when he gets it, he knows exactly what to do and picks up that big first down they needed.
First down for the Cougars. 2 men in the backfield flanking Dirkland Haynes, who's in at quarterback, and Haynes works his way past the 20, spins past one more tackler to the 24-yard line, and that's where he will go down. Tackled by Darren Richardson. Richardson, who has seen a lot of time in the ballgame as a reserve lineman, now comes off.
Dirkland Haynes trying to spark up this Lamarck sideline as Jarius Kerligan comes into the ball game. As you can see, Marlon Pouncey not having the night that his counterpart Jared Chalubi is having, but having a productive night thus far.
After this play, we'll send it down to the sideline. Kerligan's going to go deep. Separation for Florence, caught 40-yard line. First down for the Lamarck Cougars. A big play for the Cougs as they work it all the way down to the Waco 32. It's a 46-yard gain.
You know, Doug, I was waiting for that to come into the ball game. It's been setting up for him pretty much the entire game, as it looks like the receiver right there, Joseph Florence, is grabbing his ankle.
He's calling for the trainers to help him up. I think he might have cramped up there on that play as he extended. Hopefully it's not anything more than that as you get a look at the replay.
That's an excellent throw right there by Jarius Kerligan, putting it right on the money. The receiver never had to break stride, and that's good to see Mr. Florence right there walk off on his own power and clapping it a little bit, keeping his team fired up.
Let's send it down to the sideline now and check in with Dave Knobler.
Nothing that can top that play, but it's funny, in LD, you can relate to this. You listen to coaches telling their players what kind of adjustments you think it's going to be something magical, but it's just words like make sure tackles, come out and execute, who wants it most. I mean, it's just typical stuff. You'd think it would be more fire and brimstone.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dave, and a lot of time in a ball game like this, you get those things overlooked because you want to make the big play that'll separate you from your opponent. And it's just simple like that. The team that comes down and do the basic things is blocking and tackling and taking care of the football usually wins these type of football games.
Marlon Pouncey on the pass out of the backfield. Might have picked up a yard on the play, but officially no gain. Reggie Young with the stop. Second down and 10.
You know, going back to that big play with Joey Florence there, that play is going to be there throughout the game. He's already had some success against the corner, Tony Jones, out there. See if they go back to him again sometime.
Kerligan wants to go back to Florence. He is hit and hammered to the ground even after he missed the pass. That was some aggressive defense on the Waco side by Peter Smith.
Yeah, Joey right there, Joseph Florence is pointing to himself and saying, my bad, quarterback. You know, I should have had that, and he's right. He should have caught that one. That's the one, if it hits you in your hands, you should have definitely caught it.
Spoken like a true wide receiver. And a quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback. I've been on both sides of those things.
Kerligan on the delay handoff to Pouncey. Pouncey spins forward for about 4 yards up to the 32-yard line. All right, actually make that about the 27-yard line. Victor Johnson with the tackle on the play.
You know, coming into this ball game offensively, Lamarck, it looks like they're going to kick a field goal. You know, coming in this game, Lamarck in the playoffs has been averaging 33 points a game, and right now they're well underneath their average. They're definitely going to have to go to score some points to try to catch up to that.
The junior Denroy Van Horn will be on to attempt the field goal. It is going to be a 44-yard attempt. Kick is on the way, has plenty of leg. Is it good? Yes, it is. Denroy Van Horn makes the 44-yarder, and the ball game is tied at 14. We have a brand new game at the Alamo Dome with 4:33 remaining in the third quarter. Waco and Lamarck tied up at 14.
That's a heck of a kick right there. I saw him warming up at the beginning of the game, and he was easily kicking 50-yard field goals. And there's no wind, and he had the perfect element inside the dome here, and he just put that one through, especially with the pressure on. That's a great kick.
You know, that's one of the reasons that Todd Dodge loves coming down to the Alamo Dome, and we'll see Todd Dodge's South Lake Carroll Dragons play for the Division I championship tomorrow here in San Antonio as they take on Austin Westlake. He likes to take the elements out of the game. He likes to play it indoors where nothing can go wrong from the weather standpoint. That way his team can execute properly, and obviously they do a pretty good job of that.
Right, and that's the smarts of a heady coach who's been through the wars and been through it all. And a lot of times when you're the underdog, you actually hope for those elements to come in, because inside a dome you don't get the rain, who sometimes is the ultimate neutralizer in a lot of football games.
So Denroy Van Horn showing a nice leg. He's made 2 field goals tonight, 2 of 2. And his team is tied up with Waco in the 4A Division II championship game here on AT&TBlueRoom.com. Knotted up at 14 with 4:33 remaining in the third quarter. That Lamarck scoring drive, you see it there, goes 9 plays, ending in the 44-yard field goal. There's Jared Salubi back, but an onside kick attempt, and Philip Jimenez is going to come up with it for the Waco Lions, and that's a gutsy call by Brian Irwin to go for the onside kick. Philip Jimenez there, and now Waco has great field position.
You know, I don't know if that was the right time to pull that off. You've got the momentum right now. You've tied the game up at 14, and your defense has played well. Other than the one long drive that went down the dead length of the field, and even then you got a turnover. I just don't understand that, not giving your defense to play defense on the entire field here.
We'll see what Waco can do with it as they get the ball on the Lamarck side of the 50.
Great field position for Waco, and other than the fumble on that last drive they had the ball, Lamarck really hadn't shown any signs of stopping them.
Man in motion. Smith will hand off to Salubi, and Salubi falls forward past the 45 down to the 43-yard line. Hearn Sellers with the tackle on the play. And, you know, talking to Johnny Tusa this week, the head coach of the Waco Lions, he said the same thing that I just mentioned about Todd Dodge. The reason that this game is a Friday night game at the Alamo Dome is because he and Coach Irwin at Lamarck both thought that it'd be good to play this game in a dome where they didn't have to worry about the elements or the potential weather hazards. So they agreed to play it on a Friday night as opposed to a Saturday.
And that's pretty good for the kids as well. You know, you don't have to worry about it on Saturday. You have to travel back and try to get back for Christmas coming up. And this is just a great site to hold a state championship game.
A strong run up the middle for B.K. Dugas, and Dugas picking up the yardage before he's tackled by James Thomas. One of the first chances we've had to see B.K. Dugas in the ball game. We've seen Brian Dugas made a few carries in the ball game, but now B.K., his brother, getting a shot. The B.K. stands for Bronche Keon Dugas.
B.K. Dugas having 9 touchdowns on the season, so he's definitely a threat too. Once he gets into the ball game as well, he can definitely score.
I just have to say that I do like that that Waco Lion helmet too.
Yeah.
I like that red with the lion on it. Kind of reminds me of John Tyler when they had the blue helmet with the lion on it.
It's almost like the Detroit Lions helmet too. It's always good this time of year. You go through the playoffs and you see the different mascots and different uniforms. It's awesome.
Salubi hit in the backfield, dropped by Alvin Taylor. Big time defensive play from the Lamarck left corner.
That's a great play, because if he doesn't make that play, Salubi might be still running, because he's the only support out there on that edge, and if he doesn't make that, he at least picks up that first down.
You see Alvin Taylor's numbers on the year, 56 tackles coming into the game, and now watch the replay and see this hit.
Yeah, that's a great hit. That's exactly what you're taught to do. Hit the running back on his thigh pad, knock him off balance, and you definitely have to do that, especially with a runner like Jared Salubi.
Second down and 12 for the Lions. Offset eye in the backfield. Smith drops back, hands off Salubi, and this time he's met near the line of scrimmage and dropped for a gain of 1. Mike Settler with the tackle.
Now you've got yourself in a 3rd and long situation if you're the Waco Lions. You've had success actually on the ground, and this series right here looks like Lamar's kind of keyed in on Salubi a little bit. Wouldn't be surprised if you take a shot. You've got the opportunity to, and if you don't get it, you might punt the ball and try to pin them down here and play defense.
3rd and 11, and the Lamarck fans are on their feet cheering for their defense. Smith, 2-step drop, throws it, ball up in the air, intercepted. It's Gaston Benson. Benson coming back the other way, up to the 39-yard line.
Yeah, Gaston Benson in the right place at the right time. That football gets tipped, and pretty much it's up for grabs. Anybody can catch it. It's the first man to it. And Gaston Benson right there with another interception. He had an interception last week against Church Clemens. And boy, the momentum is definitely swinging now, Doug.
And you see on the pass by Smith, it's going to get knocked up in the air by Peyton Hill right there. And Gaston Benson comes away with it. Very similar to the interception that Lamarck threw in the first quarter, only that one went for a touchdown for the Lions. This one doesn't go for a TD, but does set up Lamarck and denies Waco a scoring opportunity.
Turnovers are so huge in a game of this magnitude. It's the last game of the season, and usually the team that makes the less turnovers usually wins the game.
There's a handoff to Boyd, and Boyd's going to get met by one of his own men. Falls at the 40-yard line. LeDedrick Williams officially with the tackle on the play.
LeDedrick Williams came up and laid the hat on him that time as he filled the gap well that time.
And initially Boyd did run into one of his own blockers, it looked like, before Williams came in and
finished him off.
Put that hammer down.
There is some hitting going on here today, I can tell you that. It's a championship game, and you need to have your best guns ready to go.
2nd down and 9. A fake to Pouncey, and the keeper for Curligan, he's not going to get very far, or Dirkland Haynes rather. And let's go down to Dave Knobler on the sideline.
Well, I guess that onside kick didn't really hurt the Cougars all that much, but it does, I suppose, play that show their hand a little bit.
Yeah, that was a play that they might have been saving for later, but now Waco's going to be on their toes the rest of the game. We're under a minute to play, 3rd quarter. Ball game knotted up at 14. Curligan back in, rolling to the corner, now has to fight for some yardage as he claws his way up to the 45-yard line. Curligan with a 4-yard gain, Terrence Atkinson with the tackle.
That's a good decision right there by Curligan. Again, I'm sounding like a football coach. Anytime your quarterback doesn't throw the ball to the other team in a situation like that, it's a great decision. And he tried to get positive yards right here, and he did come well short of the first down, but I wonder what the discussion is down here with Coach Irvin and his staff.
Well, right now they're probably looking at the fact that there's under 10 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, and they're saying, well, let's still run this play. Let's wait for the 4th, and that is what they will do. We have wound down 3 quarters of play. Nothing decided yet as we head to the 4th quarter in the 4A D2 title game. It's tied up at 14 between Waco and Lamarck here on AT&T BlueRoom.com. Stay with us. Tied up at 14 as we start the fourth quarter of play. Waco and Lamarck in the 4A D2 championship game. Doug Anderson with Ladera McLean, Dave Knobler down on the sideline. And this is where things get very interesting as we are down to our final 12 minutes in a tie ball game. Curligan throwing deep. Florence, the intended receiver, reaches up and has it. 10-5, touchdown. The Lamarck Cougars take the lead for the first time tonight on a 50-yard bomb from Jarius Curligan to Joseph Florence.
Doug, I don't know what else to say about that, but that's just a great catch. A good throw right there by the quarterback, Jarius Curligan. And actually, again, great coverage right there by Peter Smith. And it was pretty much a jump ball, and usually the guy with the most hops or the height usually comes out, and that was evident on that play right there.
That was great hands by Joseph Florence to reach up over Smith and come away with that football.
What a play in a big-time game, and that's why he's so sought after as a go-to receiver.
Here's the extra point attempt on the way in, good for Van Horn. And our new score with 11:53 left in the ball game, Lamarck has taken their first lead of the night, 21-14.
Yeah, as you can look on the replay here, Joseph Florence at 6 foot and Peter Smith at 5'9", and pretty much it's just a basketball player. We couldn't really see it right there. He's got a decisive size advantage almost on that play. Just a great play right there all around. What you expect from your big play receiver?
Brian Irwin happy with that one for sure. Trying to win his second state championship at Lamarck. Alan Waddell won 3 for the Lamarck Cougars back in the 90s, and of course went on to a career as an assistant under R.C. Slocum at Texas A&M. Now Brian Irwin has a chance to win multiple state championships for the Cougars, but still some work to do, obviously.
What a difference a week makes, Doug, and as last week as Lamarck offense couldn't even complete a pass last week, and they struggled for anything in the air and had almost a total of 70 yards. And this week here, we've seen big pass play after pass play in this game. So definitely they went back and did their homework and did their studying to get the offense jump-started a little bit in this game.
Mark ready to kick it away. For the first time in the night, they have the lead. We'll see if they trying the onside kick shenanigans again. I doubt it. This time they will send it somewhat deep. Charles Silman came over to take the kick, but it goes out of bounds at the 25-yard line, and that will lead to some good field position for the Waco Lions. And the officials, one thing they're going to have to keep an eye on, not saying that anybody's done anything yet, but I can just tell from the vibe between the two teams, they're going to have to watch for the extracurricular activity here in the fourth quarter.
That's right. You've got two teams that are pretty proud of themselves, two proud programs. You definitely have to watch out for that, and especially Waco being up 14 points, and now they have 21 unanswered points scored against them. Yeah, that definitely, gets the britches tight just a little bit, especially in a game of this magnitude.
Well, Waco's athletes to this point have been able to stay with Lamarck, but the one thing that you always know about a Lamarck Cougar team is that they are going to have great athletes, and great athletes can go 4 quarters. Can the other team? That's the question.
And that, again, brings you to the whole point that Dave, talked to us about. It comes down to who blocks and tackles the best. And then it comes to a point also, too, is players making plays. And as you can see on that last touchdown, the big players are making plays.
So Denroy Van Horn will kick the ball away again as Waco elects not to take the field position, but rather to try and get the return. And now the whole bobbing and weaving taking place again for the Lamarck special teams. As Van Horn readies to kick it away. Van Horn will keep it in bounds. Taken by Silman, 22-yard line. Silman with his great speed up to the 40 and falls at the 44-yard line. A nice little return on the kickoff for Charles Silman as he gets 22 yards on the comeback, and that's where the Waco Lions will start their possession on their own 44. So a good decision from Johnny Tusa to take the return because they would have had it at the 35-yard line.
Absolutely. You pick up some good yards here that may pay dividends for you. And now the chance has come again where they're going to have to go out there. They're going to have to move the ball against this defense. You've had two opportunities where you got down here close to the end zone and you let them get away from you. Now they're going to have to get up when the pressure's on them and try to move the ball and score.
Brian Smith under center. He will hand to Salubi on first down, and Salubi spinning across midfield. Close to another first down. It's a 9-yard gain. Brian Viagas with the tackle on the play.
Waco doesn't really have to press at this point, especially when you've got a guy like number 21 right there, Jared Salubi, in your backfield. I'd keep feeding him the ball and setting up the play action, and they may even try to come back and maybe do a little reverse. Set them up for something at this point.
High formation. Salubi with the handoff. First down for the Lions, and that's about it. To the 45-yard line for Jared Salubi before Gaston Benson stops him on the play, but it is a first down for the Lions.
That's an excellent tackle right there by Gaston Benson. Not an easy thing to do against Jared Salubi. Even though he picked up the first down, he stopped him from getting anything else.
Waco, a 14-0 lead at the end of the first quarter, but now trailing 21-14 here in the fourth. Handoff to the fullback, and the fullback Dugas is met by Dines, and Dines stuffs him. A gain of perhaps two, but the hit massive from Leonard Dines.
Oh man, BK Dugas, welcome to Mr. Leonard Dines' world, and you folks watching on the Worldwide Nets want to see what a car wreck looks like, take a look at that shot right there, the hole right there.
That's reminiscent of Chris Francis's goal line stand last week for Cedar Hill. Looked like Waco might have been going with a little bit of trickery there. I think they were going to pitch the ball to Salubi and have him reverse it to Charles Silman, but a whistle blew on the play.
And now they show their hand pretty much on that play, so now that play is dead. You've shown it, and now the defense is definitely going to be looking for it there.
The false start penalty knocks the Lions back, make it second down and 13.
Just too many mistakes right now if you're Waco at critical times in the ball game. This is an opportunity to get back in here. You don't necessarily have to score a touchdown. You need to, but if you can get down here and get some momentum and maybe get some points, 3 points even, you know, you might be doing okay.
Smith, a little pass to BK Dugas. Dugas hit by Taylor, dropped at the 45-yard line. That's another big play from Alvin Taylor. We've seen him make a lot of them tonight.
And this whole entire secondary is playing well thus far. They're not afraid to come up and tackle. And again, another play right there by Alvin Taylor, where he's the last line of defense, so to speak, and comes up and make that play.
Third down and 11 coming up for the Lions. 9:19 remaining in the ball game. They trail by 7.
If I'm Lamarck at this point, I'm sending everybody in the kitchen sink on this one, because you know what's coming up next.
Smith, quick drop, throwing it for Silman. Silman reaching out, cannot come up with it. James Thomas was in the coverage, and he did a nice job.
Everything James Thomas out there on the defensive play. And that was actually a good throw right there by Brian Smith. Silman just couldn't bring it down. And right now, if you're Waco, you definitely have to punt and play defense. There's still a lot of time left in the game. And as you can see on this shot right there, actually, Thomas, you can see him swatting it away just pretty much right there.
Cameron Curry will punt the ball away. Deron Goodwin is back to receive it for Lamarck. A wobbling kick. Fair caught, now lost, and Lamarck drops on top of it. They saved the football, but that could have been a disaster for the Cougars. And again, it was Leonard Dines who jumped on the ball. That guy's all over the place.
He is all over the place. And that's what you need out of your senior, just senior leadership. You know, the guy's been playing for 4 years and making the plays when the team needs it.
As you heard Dave Nobler mention, some of these Lamarck seniors do have rings from the 2003 season when they were mere freshmen. Trying to add another. Curligan looking to the sideline. Now the play, throwing it down the middle. Knocked on the ground and an interference penalty coming. Edwin Evans knocking the intended receiver Desmond Haynes to the ground before the ball even got there.
Yeah, he knew he was beat on that play right there. And a lot of times you tell your defensive back, go ahead and get the pass interference. You don't want the guy getting behind you after catching the ball. But right there, he just mistimed that one. And that was a nice shot right there Lamarck took right there. And Waco was actually in zone coverage at that time.
Pass interference penalty against the Lions. You see the arm on Jarius Curligan, not a bad throw.
I like that call. You know, you're up 21-14. You know, you're up 21-14. You definitely don't want to get conservative and get away from your game plan. I like that ability for you to go ahead and attack the defense.
First down and 10 from the 35-yard line for the Cougars. One receiver is Florence. Two backs in the backfield with Curligan in the shotgun. He'll hand off to Boyd, and TJ Boyd to the 36-yard line. Picks up a yard. Gary House burning him down, so to speak.
You know, Waco defensively, or as a team, is plus 18 in the turnover ratio. So they're relying right now and hopefully trying to get this ball back from Lamarck as they need a big play. His time is definitely winding down on their season.
Dirkwin Haynes in at quarterback. We've seen the rotation quite a bit tonight. Haynes will keep it and trips over his blocker. Falls to the 40 or 39-yard line rather. Reggie Young with a tackle on the play, but a penalty flag comes in.
You know, that's a penalty that looks like a dead ball personal foul there again. Late hit on the quarterback, and, you know, I really didn't get a good look at it, but nonetheless, it was called. And I don't know, we're going to take a look at the replay here. I didn't really see too much of it that time, but again, it's a silly penalty that you definitely don't need. That's the second one that's kind of cost the team at this point.
Joel Pacheco, our official, with the indication, personal foul against Waco. And yeah, Johnny Tusa mentioned it at the end of the first half. They had an unnecessary penalty for taunting. And now as you get a look at the replay here, the penalty for a late hit. And Curligan clearly on the ground. It's not like
he tried to hurt him.
Really tried to hurt him or anything, but it was a late hit. And now another flag coming in as Lamarck's play was an incomplete pass, but another penalty flag, and don't tell me this is again a penalty against Waco.
He impeded the receiver going downfield. He pretty much tackled him. But you really can't say the ball was uncatchable because it was in the 5-yard zone. I'm not really what they're going to sort out on this one. I'm not really sure what they're going to do at this point. You're allowed to make contact with the receiver in the 5-yard zone. And that's exactly what the call was.
After talking it over, they decide to pick up the flag. No penalty. Brian Irwin can't believe it. He's not happy about it, but the play stands. As I think you had it right, Ladarian. In the 5-yard zone, anything goes basically, and that's where the play took place.
Right.
So now Lamarck will substitute some players in. A couple of new receivers to watch out for, including Marcus Frank in the slot. Curligan rolling, flipping it to his tight end, Jackson. Ian Jackson, 35 to the 30. Now cutting it back across the field to the 10, to the 5, and diving into the end zone. A 46-yard reception from Ian Jackson, and Lamarck has put a stranglehold on the 4A D2 title.
That's the perfect call right there, Doug. You timed it right. Waco had a full blitz on right there. And as you can see, Ian Jackson slips out of the slot right there at his tight end position and catches the ball, and he knows what to do with it and goes to the house right there. A perfect call in that situation.
And wasn't Ian Jackson helped off the field at one point in this ball game?
He was.
He didn't look like it there.
Ian Jackson, the junior.
Denroy Van Horn on to attempt the extra point. Kick on the way, and the kick is good. And the Lamarck Cougars are 7 minutes and 43 seconds away from adding a 5th state championship trophy to their already pretty filled up trophy case there at Lamarck High School.
Absolutely. As you can see right here on the replay, the rush is coming upfield. There's nobody to count it for Ian Jackson. And he's got blockers in front of him, and he's such a good athlete and great vision. He knows what to do. Great play right there.
Great run by Ian Jackson after the catch. A 46-yard touchdown for the Lamarck Cougars. They have scored on touchdown passes of 50 and 46 yards here in the fourth quarter to take this lead.
And they have scored 28 unanswered points here late in the game here ever since the second quarter. And man, you have to be wondering what's going on if you're Waco. They've been pretty much shooting themselves in the foot. And then again, once again, I keep hopping on the point, the drop touchdown pass, and then you've got the fumble inside the 5-yard line down here. Potentially 2 touchdowns right there could definitely be a different ball game right now.
Lamarck in control, leading 28-14 with 7:43 left in the game. What a different ball game this might be, too, if Philip Jimenez catches that would-be touchdown catch for Waco near the end of the first half. They might be up by 10 points going into the halftime locker room. Instead, they were only up by 3. Ball bounces in the end zone and goes out, and it will be a touchback for the Lions. They'll start on their own 20.
That little guy right there has got a heck of a leg. He booted that thing in the end zone. You wonder why he hadn't been doing that all game, but that's part of the strategy, of the Lamarck Cougars.
Lamarck on top, 28-14, and you see Rashad Bobineau cheering on those guys down on the sideline.
Well, that's always good when you see the former players who've done it and has had the experience, and they've gone on to be at big-time college programs. It makes you feel good when they come back and they care about you as well. They watch you grow up, and now you've got a chance to win the state championship.
First down and 10 on the 20-yard line for Waco. They will hand it off to Salubi, and Salubi fighting off one tackle, now another, and works his way near the first down. He picks up 7. Ryan Biagas knocking him out of bounds, but a 7-yard gain for Jared Salubi to bring up second down and 3. And you look at Salubi's numbers tonight, he's gone over the 200-yard mark with 20 rushes.
That is incredible right there. 20 rushes, 206 yards, and man, he's just exciting to watch, and I'm really enjoying him play against a solid, great defense in Lamarck and making him look like he's playing against some JV team almost.
Discussion on the field between the two sidelines as it looked like Waco was trying to get a play in this. Lamarck crowd has really been fired up over the last 5 minutes, and they are extremely loud here at the Alamo Dome tonight.
And rightfully so. The Lamarck fans have watched their team battle back and take a 14-point lead, and now it's in the hands of their defense. The black mob defense is the men are all about business out here trying to take control of this game here.
Ryan Smith with the fake handoff, play action, Now forced out of the pocket. Will flip it. Has a man, but that's an offensive lineman. He can't have the football. He throws it behind him. It's picked up by Lamarck, and the Cougars lose the football, but I think their man was already down at the 8-yard line. What a crazy play that is.
I can't believe I just saw that right there. It looks like something out of a movie at that point right there.
Jose Alvarez caught the pass from Smith. Now, he was an ineligible receiver. He's an offensive lineman. The flag flew. Now, the play should be dead at the flag.
Right.
So the throw by Alvarez shouldn't really count. You wouldn't think.
You wouldn't think that. Oh, well, we get overruled, Doug.
Well, I guess I'm wrong. Here's
that's an illegal play.
One of the craziest plays that you're ever going to see in high school football. As you get a look at it, Brian Smith throwing out of desperation. The nearest man was Alvarez. Alvarez, illegal receiver. Flag flies. Now he tosses the ball backwards. And Lamarck with a chance to jump on it.
Tell me we're watching a movie right there. We didn't see that happen. You know, those guys are tight. You know, you can't catch the ball, but at the same time, in the heat of the moment, you see a ball coming at you, your natural instinct is to catch the thing.
An unbelievable turn of events gives the Lamarck Cougars the ball, first and goal on the Waco 9-yard line. Flag on the play. They were trying to go up the middle on that one to Leonard Dines, but whistle blows, and looks like it might be a false start against the Cougars.
You know, for a state championship game here in the state of Texas, it's been very sloppy. Even up to this point in the game, you figured both of these teams, they've battled this way. They've already played 15 games to this point. Between the two of them, they've only lost 3 games, and to still have as many penalties as we've seen here tonight, it's a very, very sloppy game thus far. But an exciting one, though.
Well, no question about that. We've seen quite a fourth quarter here as Lamarck has taken a 28-14 lead. Now trying to add to that, Dirkland Haynes hit in the backfield and dropped on the play. Waco doing a nice job defensively. Josh Hicks bringing down Haynes.
That's the first look we've seen tonight at the option look. And Dirkland Haynes, their most successful rusher, he's had quite a bit of success on the ground, actually. If he continues to go to the corner on that play, they've got an excellent play on right there. But he saw something early and decided to cut up in the line.
Yeah, Haynes actually the second leading rusher on this Lamarck team coming into the game. With 638 yards on the ground to go with his near 1,500 yards passing. Haynes stays in at quarterback, I formation in the backfield. Hand off to Dines, and Dines bouncing off tacklers to the 5-yard line. Terrence Atkinson finally brings him down, but Leonard Dines doing some tough running up the middle.
Tough running is right. It's just power football at its best right there. You just turn, reverse pivot to your fullback and let him go with a full head of steam forward as they're chipping away here. Looks like they've got a 3rd and goal situation. They pretty much, if they can get in, pretty much can get the ceremony ready and get the trophy ready for Lamarck Cougars.
3rd and goal from the 5 after the 8-yard gain from Dines, and Dines stays in at fullback. Pouncey behind him. Dines will take the handoff again and fights forward, still pushing all the way down to the 2-yard line. He picks up 3, but that will bring up 4th and goal from the 2, and it's decision time for Brian Irwin. Do you roll the dice here and try to get the 6 points and really salt this game away, or do you take the sure 3?
Actually, at this time, like you said, Doug, if it's a sure 3, you definitely don't want to take points off the board.
That makes it a 3-score game either way. And so I think you'd be smart to go with the field goal here.
I think you're absolutely right. You've got a kicker like Van Horn who's pretty solid and kicking the ball, and it's pretty much less than an extra point. So I'm definitely, if I'm coaching, if I'm Brian Irvin down there, I think you go ahead and just get your points.
Dirkland Haynes is lobbying Coach Irwin to go for it, pleading his case. And they're talking about they'll have to call timeout as the play clock had dwindled down to 1 second.
The only bad thing about this, Doug, is that the angle that they're on that right hash, which is not too bad of a hash, but it's so close to the goalpost right here, you really have to worry about the angles on that type of a kick.
Yeah, you're talking about an extra point. That's all this is.
Right.
So Lamarck will talk about it. Johnny Tusa and his staff trying to prepare their Lions. Let's send it down to the sideline now. Check in with Dave again.
Well, here with UIL Athletic Director Charles Brydup, and this is a great weekend for Texas high school football, getting a chance to see 3 quality games, and it certainly opens the door for perhaps more common sight.
Well, Dave, every weekend's a great weekend for high school football in Texas, but this has been a special weekend. We're excited about tomorrow's game, having for the first time in 80 years a designated site, giving fans across the state of Texas an opportunity to know where the game's going to be in advance.
What do you see? How do you see things playing out in the future? Could we see an expanded version of this?
Well, this game tonight with a 4A certainly gives us the opportunity to showcase that availability. What we'll do is wait and see what the 4A schools want to do. There's been a lot of talk about it, and we'll just wait and see what the schools tell us they want.
All right, we'll check in with Dr. Brydup after the game for a little trophy celebration, but for now, let's send it back to Doug and LD.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. And Waco back on the field. Here come the Cougars of Lamarck. You see the 4th down conversions. Lamarck has made both of theirs tonight. Waco 0 for 1. And the Cougars will go for it on 4th and 2, leading by 14. Dirkland Haynes again with the quick count, drawing Waco off sides. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that is unbelievable, Doug. You know, you figure a team comes this far in the state championship round, as an encroachment called right there by the referee. You figured you'd have more discipline than that, especially in this late in the season.
Half the distance to the goal. Still 4th down, but the 2-yard run becomes a 1-yard run now, and that does make a difference down there.
That does definitely make a difference. Instead of the long 2 yards, you've got a little. Looks like you can just pretty much sneak it in the end zone almost. The inside looks like they're just on the 1-yard hash mark.
Don't be surprised to see Dirkland Haynes do just that, and he does. Dirkland Haynes spinning his way in, I believe, but no indication yet from the officials. Now there it is. Touchdown, Lamarck Cougars. They have turned what was a tie ball game going to the 4th into a Cougar rout.
Yeah, usually the best team, the cream always rises to the top. And as we talked about early, you know, can the Waco Lions keep up with the athletes of Lamarck? And right now, they're pretty much running away with this football game with less than 5 minutes to go.
Van Horn on to attempt the extra point to make it 35-14. A 21-point lead for the Lamarck Cougars if the PAT goes, but it does not. It bounces off the crossbar and into the field of play. Dead ball ruled as it bounces off the crossbar, so it is a 20-point lead for the Lamarck Cougars, 34-14 with 4:46 left in the game.
Now it's pretty much desperation mode if you're the Waco Lions. I think you pretty much have to come out throwing the ball, and a good push, as you can look right here on the replay. So many bodies to sort out right there for the official to make the official announcement on the touchdown. As you can see, Pouncey right there just knew he was in there as he walking off right there.
Johnny Tusa has done a fantastic job as the coach of the Waco Lions. He's gotten them back to the state final for the first time since 1948, but it looks like the Lions are going to come up one game short of their ultimate goal of winning a state championship.
You know, that's a great point, Doug. You know, your hat has to go off to Tusa and his staff. And just think, last year, this Waco Lion team went 2-8. They only won 2 games last year. And then this year, they reeled off some wins, some streak, got on a good streak, and went to the state final. Definitely a great season for them.
You saw that scoring drive. Over 3 minutes to go, 9 yards. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't.
Charles Silman and Jared Salubi back to receive the kickoff. Van Horn again will send it deep. This time Silman will return it from the 5-yard line. Quickly to the 20, the 25, and up to the 27-yard line, and multiple flags hitting the Alamo Dome field turf. Alvin Taylor with the tackle on the play.
That's pretty neat right there. Nice sign.
That's not a bad sign at all.
5 state championships. And I don't want to get too premature in this, barring a miracle. It's still got 4 minutes and 42 seconds left in the game. All respect to Waco. But it looks like it's definitely a steep uphill climb at this point right now.
Well, the Lions have a massive task in front of them if they want to get back into this thing. We've seen stranger things happen, but it doesn't appear likely. Personal foul called against the Lions on the return, so rather than starting with the decent field position that they had up at the 34, they start back at their own 18-yard line. Quick pass, caught on the screen up to the 30-yard line, and Ronald Horn, who has not been much of a factor tonight, picks up a first down. Mike Settler knocks him out of bounds.
Simple quick screen right there to the receiver Ronald Horn. And that time Lamarck is playing a softer coverage than they've been playing mostly of the game. They've been playing a pretty much straightforward man coverage. And that time they went to their quarters look with all 4 guys in the secondary at the same level.
Brian Johnson loses the snap, has to fall on it.
You know, it's really uncharacteristic of a state championship caliber team to have the mistakes as Waco's had during this game. You know, they've got the fortunate break for their first score of the game on the interception, but as you can see, they've just been shooting themselves in the foot with the penalties and the miscues on offense, and then the defensive mistakes that they've been doing with the penalties. So
Brian Smith with the Lions offense on 2nd down and 10. Two-step drop, gets hit, loses the football, and one of the offensive linemen has to dive onto it. Aaron Sellers with the big hit. Will Jones made the fumble recovery, but that's a loss of 10 on the play, and boy, Sellers came in on the blind side and just leveled poor Brian Smith.
Yeah, that was just pretty much a bullseye on the back of number 17, Brian Smith's back right there. Sellers delivers the blow and dislodges the football. All right, this defense right now is definitely putting their ears back and going to the quarterback.
Well, Lamarck really kicked it into another gear in the 4th quarter as Salubi tries to find running room but going nowhere as Mike Settler comes in to nail him. Another loss of yardage, and right now you can see which team has owned this 4th quarter, and they are still dominating in this final 12 minutes of play.
Exactly right. The defense have turned their intensity up as well and shut down the running game and slowed Jared Salubi down. And it looks like they're going to get an opportunity for their offense to get the ball back and milk this clock right now.
Nobody back to receive the punt for the Cougars as Cameron Curry will kick the ball away. Curry's punt, knuckleballer that bounces at the 40-yard line and now will go out of bounds up at the 31 of Lamarck. A 43-yard punt for Cameron Curry, and with 2.5 minutes left to go in the game, the Lamarck Cougars simply have to run out the clock and they can celebrate their 5th state championship. We'll be back to the Alamo Dome after this on AT&TBlueRoom.com. At the Alamo Dome, Doug Anderson along with Ladarian McLean, and we are winding down the 4A Division II state championship game here on AT&TBlueRoom.com. A 34-14 lead for the Lamarck Cougars.
You know, this is one of the best times of the football game if you're Lamarck. You worked all season long to get to this point right here where you're just trying to milk the clock right here, and you've got the game in hand. And now you can pretty much get ready to start your celebration as they join the exclusive club of 5 state championship rings.
And not too many teams have done that. Of course, the list starts with teams like Brownwood, Plano, and Salina, who all have 7 state championships. Salina could become the first team to make it 8 if they win tomorrow over Liberty Hill. Then you've got your 6-time state champions. The leader in that pack is South Lake Carroll. They've got 6. They could make it 7 tomorrow if they beat Austin Westlake.
Absolutely, and that should be a heck of a ball game tomorrow. You've got 2 perennial state powerhouses going head-to-head with each other, and man, it's definitely entertaining to watch. And I just want to say to everybody, Merry Christmas, everybody. To you, Doug, and your family and
Merry
everybody.
Christmas to you, too. You and Anita. So appreciate the fact that you guys have been here every game this season that we've done. Of course, this is the first one on AT&TBlueRoom.com, but we come from the Metroplex in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where we do a game on television every week, and we certainly have enjoyed doing it. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone who's checking us out on the internet tonight. Here's Pouncey, and Marlon Pouncey picking up some nice yardage, another first down, and simply trying to run out the clock. The Lamarck Cougars, but padding the stats a little bit as well. Edwin Evans with the tackle on the play.
Oh, it's nothing like when to win that state championship, and just to keep the tradition going if you're Lamarck. And to have those guys that's been there the last time that you've won a state championship, that adds a little bit to it. It makes it that much more special. But again, you have to tip your hats off to the Waco Lions, who've battled with their tough schedule this year, losing to 2 tough teams during the regular season, one of them being last year's state champion, Euless Trinity.
A knee from Dirkland Haynes, and the clock is about to go under 1 minute to play. But another timeout called, and I guess Waco wants to use their timeouts for whatever reason. And we'll take it right here as these 2 teams getting ready to celebrate, at least one of them celebrating a state championship coming up here in about a minute, and that will be the Lamarck Cougars. They're ahead by 20. The final 1 minute and 5 seconds from the Alamo Dome. It's the victory formation for the Lamarck Cougars. Dirkland Haynes is the quarterback who is out there to take the knee, and that is somewhat fitting. Dirkland Haynes is the senior. Jarius Curligan is the junior. He gives the senior the chance to take the final bow as he goes out a state champion here at the Alamo Dome.
And that's what you want, too. That's just a great sign of class right there by that football program, is let your senior quarterback get that last taste of victory for his team. And I think Coach Irwin already, he got doused.
He got the Gatorade bath once. Now I think he's getting it again. Or maybe that was the first time, but everybody smiles on that Lamarck sideline as they can count it down now. 15 seconds left to go in the game. Now down to 10 and under 10, and here they come, the Lamarck Cougars, state champions in Class 4A, Division II in 2006, the 5th state championship in the storied history of the Lamarck Cougar program.
Wow, what a great season for Lamarck. 14-1, or now 15-1. State champions in the state of Texas for Class 4A Division II. What a great season for Coach Irwin and his staff. Rightfully so, they should be celebrating, because you go so long in the season and the off season and the summer workouts, and have it culminate to a victory like this, man. That's going off, and that's a great scene right there.
Congratulatory hug from Johnny Tusa. That's a guy that's never going to be a sore loser. Johnny Tusa is a class act, and maybe next time for the Waco Lions, but this year it belongs to the Lamarck Cougars. state champions in 2006. And let's go down to the sideline and check in with Dave Knobler with a victorious Brian Irwin.
Well, I'm here doused in ice with Coach Irwin. Unbelievable, you know. But hey, it feels good. You feel even better right now, and this is going to feel even better than that. Charles, take it away.
David, I want to introduce the Deputy Commissioner of Education for the Texas Education Agency, former school superintendent at Lamarck ISD, hi, Brian Irwin. Brian, congratulations on the state championship, another one, and a large trophy case that you have filling up another space. Dr. Johnson?
Coach Irwin, what you do with these young men, both on the field and off, is a great example for all of us. I'm so proud and honored on behalf of the UIL to present to you Conference 4A State Championship Trophy. There you go. Division 2, man.
This man hired me right here. This man hired me. I think that's a pretty good hire. 2 of these in 4 years, Coach. You knew you were going to get back someday, I'm sure. You have a lot of confidence in your program, but did you expect it this year?
I don't know, you know, I did. These guys are unbelievable. You witnessed what I coached. 34 unanswered points. We're down 14-0. Everything that could go wrong went wrong in the first quarter. And wow, these guys just have such huge hearts, and I love them to death. And I want to give glory to God. My football team wants to give glory to God. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. What a great Waco High football team. Coach Johnny Tusa does a great job. He's a great friend. I feel bad for him, but I'm really happy for my kids and my program.
It's an obvious question. There had to have been some doubts down 14.
No doubts. We kept shaking it off and stepping up. We told the kids to stay calm and just respond and just hold the rope, let it burn, but don't let it go. That's all we preach. That's all we preach is just the bad things. You know, it's easy to play football when good things are happening. It's how you respond when bad things are happening. That's the key. So, you know, we just kept playing. Our kids kept believing, and we felt like at halftime we had run 40 offensive plays, and we were doing some good things in the second quarter. And we just had to have the will to win, and we felt like that we took the best shot in the first half. That's why I told the kids we took the best shot, and we didn't come out and play well the second half, and I guess we did that.
It worked out pretty well for you, Coach. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. I want to celebrate.
All right, Doug, LD, this is the words from Coach Irwin. Certainly happy to have this one, his second state title in 4 years at Lamarck, in the bag.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave, and maybe we got a towel for you somewhere up here in the press box. I'm not sure where you can get dried off, but what a fantastic response Lamarck's Cougars gave to the Waco Lions when they were down 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. They reeled off 34 unanswered points, including 3 scores in the fourth quarter when it went to the fourth quarter tied up at 14. So congratulations to the Lamarck Cougars, 2006 4A Division II state champions. We hope you have enjoyed this one on AT&TBlueRibbon.com. For Dave Knobler and Ladera McClain, I'm Doug Anderson. Merry Christmas from the Alamo Dome.